Folks, welcome to the second Hyperfixation episode of Loud Equals Funny.
Hi, we didn't just record a whole shit ton about new news and then append it onto the last episode.
Not
That
at
would
all.
never happen.
Not us.
Yeah,
Not us. It ain't me.
it ain't me.
Well, welcome. We're gonna be. We were spurred on. Bane, you were like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
should do an episode just by myself talking about GTA 5."
I was gonna do like a small 30-minute thing, just like, hey, Grand Theft Auto 5, it's been 10 years, it's fucking wild, and then that was gonna be it. But we decided, one, to be better, because honestly, who wants to listen to 30 minutes of a dude just talk about GTA 5, and we can talk for maybe like an hour or two about
We can
all
talk
the
about
GTAs.
the good games.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, GTA 5 is good. It's just
Yeah,
it's no GTA 4 or Vice City
or San Andreas or London 1969.
Or
Yeah.
2. GTA 2 is like kind of really fucking great.
Yeah, GTA 2 kind of fucks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think we've played all the main ones, and
Yeah.
I've played some of the spin-off ones too.
The only one I never ended up playing was Chinatown Wars, despite, I think, owning it for a fucking DS. I think I still have it, but
I played it
never
a
played
little
it.
while. I didn't finish it, but I played it on PSP, totally legit PSP, and it was that game's really good. I will say I don't care for I don't really like the top-down GTAs as much. I find them a little cumbersome, but like Chinatown Wars is like it makes me wish that they would do like a remake of GTA 1 and 2 that has like slightly updated controls and shit, because that game is great. Nobody really thinks about that game,
Yeah.
But I guess that's a good way to start, actually, in a series where everybody knows the games. I mean, GTA 5 is now 10 years old as of September 17th.
It's impressive how long that game has lasted.
It's impressive how long they've managed to wring fucking like horrible blood and pus from this hanging corpse of GTA 5. It was released to giant acclaim. Everybody was waiting for GTA 5 for years. When 4 came out, it was like, what's the next one going to be? And they were like hushed. And I remember how like how much of a big deal it was that it took like a few years for GTA 5 to be announced. Because it was 2008, I think, that 4 came out. And then it was like maybe 2011 or something when they announced 5.
Yeah,
And
basically halfway in between.
People thought that was like the longest fucking wait ever, and that is so quaint now. Like,
how
if
little
only
we
they
knew.
knew.
When they first showed, like, I think the original trailer was the one of like Michael looking out over the city or whatever, and it was like, hey, we've got, we're back to Los Santos was basically the extent of it, and that was like 2 years before it came out, and it was just. Yeah, like people really were like, I can't believe it took so long. This better be the best game ever. And man,
It ended up being a very successful game.
Certainly a popular one, yes.
It's currently the second best-selling game of all time, right behind Minecraft.
Yeah.
And right above
That
the
makes
mobile
sense.
version of Tetris that EA put out, which sold 100 million copies, apparently.
I mean, that's Tetris. That deserves it.
But it's like the mobile version, it's like, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, then
I don't know.
Wii Sports and PUBG are the two games under that. So in the top 5, it's number 2.
It's like disappointing a little bit, because I mean, I think all three of us generally like GTA 5.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've
It's like
played
all
it on
right.
every platform it's been released on.
That's a little sad.
It is.
Considering how many there are, yes. It's a little disappointing though, because like having played the other ones in the series, I don't think it's a particularly controversial opinion to be like San Andreas was better or 4. I think it's a little controversial to say 4 was better, but
people hated
definitely
the driving
think that.
in 4 because they suck.
Yeah, people really shit on 4 for what are honestly baseless reasons.
Yeah, 4 was great.
There's some issues with 4. I don't know. Do we want to do this like GTA 1 forward or like start with 5? I don't know. How do we? Because I could just get into ranting about
See-
4 and how the
here's the
driving
thing.
is actually really
We
good.
definitely have to talk about the fucking the remastered trilogy
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, I'd say let's probably go in like release order.
Sure.
We can kind of group the first
haven't-
three, the first two.
I haven't played GTA 1 to any significant degree.
I played one a bit. I never finished it.
I played a little bit of 1. I'm kind of fascinated by 1 because it has like multiple cities and they're all like cities that were later in the other games. Like I think San Andreas is one of the cities that
Yeah.
you go to. Vice City is one.
Yep.
And then there's other ones in 1 that are not in later GTA games. So everybody's been like, "Where is this city? It was in the first game. Where's that in 3D?" And they just never bothered with that. Um, the first game is pretty interesting, certainly for the time.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like a Smash TV, but like open world.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a weird top down almost I don't necessarily know how you properly describe it, but it was just completely top down. It was an interesting concept, and it was based off, I think, one of their other games they were working on.
Yeah, well, at the time it was DMA Design or whatever, right?
Yep.
And they were responsible for the funniest thing about GTA and Rockstar to me is the number of games that are like associated with Rockstar or specifically DMA Design and like
What's the funniest
Leslie
one?
Benzies and shit.
What's the-
I don't
What's the
I
funniest
can't-
one to you?
I can't name any right now. Didn't they do fucking Space Station Silicon Valley? I think that might have been
I
them.
think they did. The one I remember
I know-
most is Uniracers.
Oh god.
For me, the funniest one is Lemmings.
Oh, Lemmings
Oh
is
yeah, they
great.
did do Lemmings. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's actually funny to think about because that game's like also really popular. You don't really associate it with the
Yeah.
GTA brand. I don't think it's owned by Rockstar at this point either.
I
Let me
think
look.
um I think it's owned by Sony now, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, the
Oh.
license had remained with Psygnosis,
Oh
which became
yeah.
part of
Psygnosis.
Sony in '93.
Yeah,
And ultimately
Yeah.
folded in 2012, leaving Lemmings as a Sony property.
yeah,
Yeah,
Psygnosis
the one on
was
PSP was like popular.
yeah, Psygnosis was the guys behind Wipeout, the original team.
Oh,
They were behind a bunch of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big name back in the like PS1 days. DMA Design, I know they also did. What was the game? It was like Body Harvest, I think, on the N64,
Yep.
which was another one that was like kind of. It wasn't like an open world game, but it was like you are a little man in like a miniature city kind of thing, and you have weapons and you blow stuff up. It was like kind of a proto GTA a little bit.
Yeah, from what I know, that was the prelude to like 3 basically. Like that was kind
Yeah.
of where they started their tech.
Yeah, that was after. That's right. That was after GTA 1 and 2. So that was
Yep.
like during the existence of the GTA series they made that. Yeah, and that was like and that's another thing about Rockstar that's really funny is like looking at the games that are like example like what would you say tech demos or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
game is a tech demo for GTA 3. Table tennis was a tech demo for GTA 4.
Oh yeah, it was like just a
Classic
tech demo for that
Rockstar-
whole engine.
Did either of you ever play that Rockstar table tennis?
I did.
No,
It was pretty
I
good.
didn't.
I remember it was at like a Walmart kiosk, and I played it, but like I've never owned it. I should try to track down a copy.
I think I've got it, but I don't honestly know where it would be now, so I'd have to look for it.
No, this was such an era, just the era when Rockstar, the biggest company ever, would just release a weird like tabletop or table tennis game.
Oh yeah, there was
You
that
know.
Smuggler's Run, fucking Bully.
Remember when Rockstar made games?
Yeah,
Yeah, the Warriors, obviously Bully,
dude, the Warriors.
Yeah, Bully's the big one.
They had
Midnight Club.
they had worked on sort of a spiritual sequel to the Warriors. I can't remember what it was called, but I saw a video about it recently.
Yeah, there's a number of games. Rockstar is another thing about them is that they are very like secretive, I want to say. Like, you don't get a lot of behind-the-scenes shit from Rockstar. You
Yeah,
don't get a
there's
lot
not
of,
a lot of
like...
leaks.
There was the big GTA 6 leak, but, like, before that, and I think there were some other leaks from time to time, but, like, I don't know. We don't really know what it's like to work. I don't know. The process of working on a Rockstar game, it feels less documented than like Bungie had like the vid doc thing that they would do, right? Where
Yeah.
you would just like see the studio and see them all working at their office,
Yeah.
their little desks, and you'd see the like program that they're making the Halo 2 maps on or whatever. Rockstar, you never really get that. And yeah, so there was like a lot of games back in the day that they would put out that weren't like Rockstar. Like Max Payne 2 was technically a Rockstar game, but it was just a Remedy game, but they published it.
Yeah.
But they're one of those. Rockstar is also kind of like Bethesda because they will just put their name on stuff and people won't recognize that it's not actually developed by like the GTA people. And they'll be like, "Oh, Deathloop, a new Bethesda game. I love Todd Howard."
Man, yeah, God, yeah, they've acquired so many companies, and now the way they're working these companies, it's in a way it's kind of like the COD system they're doing,
Yeah,
where
the
everyone's
GTA
kind of
minds.
working on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, which God, that's haunting.
I mean, it's depressing. We're gonna have to get to 5 eventually, and we'll rant about the online and everything.
Yep.
But like,
Yeah.
I don't know, GTA 1. Do either of you have anything else to say? I don't think
Um,
any of us
the
played it that
only
much.
I played the London expansion more than I did the base game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, which to say something about the London expansion, it's London.
Yeah.
yeah. 1969. It's the
Yeah.
only one that's actually set in the location that fucking Rockstar
It's
is from.
Yeah, and only time we've ever seen a real world location also.
That's true. Yeah, actual
Yeah.
London, not like Queen City or whatever.
Yeah, fucking wild. And we'll
That is
probably
weird.
never see the United Kingdom ever again.
No, and that's because, well, GTA, I don't know how much 1 was known for this, but I think 2 was the one that really started to begin the trend of like being like a parody of America and American society and American media, especially like
Yeah.
action movies and shit.
See, I really think that started with three.
Mostly
There
started
was a
with
bit of it
3.
in two of
Two
like
is the
goofing
one
around
that
with
kind of
saves.
kicked it off with like it's set in the future. It's kind of like a RoboCop, Paul Verhoeven kind of thing.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to leave
Um,
for a sec. But yeah,
you could.
GTA 2. It
We're
was
about
like
yeah.
kind of like fucking cyberpunk. It was cool as hell.
yeah, it was set in like slightly in the future. I think it might be
Oh,
like
yeah.
future enough that we have already passed it, but it was like future at the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, it had I remember it had like a bunch of sort of future. That was another thing about GTA 2. It's the only one that's like a future sci-fi game. There are other ones like Vice City and London 69 and obviously San Andreas that were set in like the past. That's the only one that went GTA Advanced Warfare on us, and that was the second one. Uh,
Yeah.
I also have to point out GTA 2 had a cut prog rock radio station, which was
Damn it.
like 8 years ago or something. It was uncovered, and I think the guy who made it like put it online. It's like 20 something minutes, and it's got like the radio DJ
So
parts and
half a
everything.
song.
It's basically like one long yes song. Yes. And it's actually quite good. I remember listening to it. It's pretty good. But it doesn't really fit with the like post techno future fucking GTA 2 vibe, so it kind
Yeah,
of makes
that's a
sense they
shame.
cut it.
Oh, supposedly, GTA 2 takes place in the grand future of 2013.
There you go.
Yep.
The far
Nice.
off future of 2007.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Um
The space year 2000.
but when you go and you play 3, um I haven't played much of 1 and 2, but I've played enough to know that 3 is definitely a 3D version of GTA 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an arcadey, silly game with pickups, and a lot of the like UI looks similar. and you can even play GTA 3 in top-down mode, which nobody ever did
Yeah,
because it's
I played
terrible.
around with it.
well, you'd hit it
Yeah,
and it'd
once
be
in a
like,
while.
oh, what's this?
It'd
And
be
you'd
like
drive
a
for
weird
minute.
accident.
Well, what you do is you drive for like a minute like that, then you fucking hit a car, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
You'd hit
it's like
select
the
again just
cinematic.
to get back there.
It's like the cinematic camera. You
Yeah,
never really use it.
It's funny, the only time that their cinematic camera was ever useful for me was Red Dead 2, where you're just like half of the game. I guess Red Dead 1 also fits, but like half of the game or more, you're just holding forward on a horse. So
Well,
you
yeah.
might as well just watch the fucking mountains and scenery and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, plus
It
also
also
with
it
that
just
when you
like
hold,
rides your horse for you, yeah.
yeah. Because if you're trying to like just drive somewhere, the moment you try to like hit a curb and hope it turns for you, nope. You got to switch back and turn for yourself. It's like,
Yeah, that was always the pain.
If they had a way where you could turn that cinematic camera on and drive for you, that'd be a way better thing than fast travel, I think. I'd
Yeah.
rather do
Yeah.
that.
There's a mod
Yeah.
for Daggerfall that does that. It's cool.
Yeah, GTA 3, I think, is the one that everybody probably played first. At least all three of us. I don't know if we all played it first, but like,
I played
it was
I
mine
played
first.
Vice City first.
okay. Yeah, no, I mean, at least we played it before going back to the original 2 and
Yeah,
London.
yeah.
This one was my first one, and I didn't know too much about it other than like the name. I saw it. I saw it on PC at like the bargain section at Walmart in like 2006 or 7, and
Wow.
yeah, my dad was. I had to very slightly convince my dad. He was pretty cool about it. I was like, Dad, can I get this? And he's like, this game's rated M. I'm like, but it's okay though. All right, and I got it, and it was
Like,
fine.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
yeah, and then I played it on my shitty little computer, and it was able to run decently. And yeah, I mean, it's still a game that you can go back to. It's very clunky now. There is no aiming unless you play the PC version, in which case
Yeah.
it's like always aiming all the time, and it's like too easy. But if
yeah.
you're on like the PS2 version, then you'll just like walk through into a room, and just 15 men will be shooting you. And
Very
that'll
cool. Very
happen.
fun.
That'll happen to you. There are a lot of missions in GTA 3 and all three of the PS2 games, really. But specifically, like 3 and I think Vice City have a lot of missions that were like rage quit missions for people. Vice
Yeah.
City in particular. San Andreas has the one where it has like one. It's the one where you're flying the little RC plane for Zero, and you have to like drop bombs in San Fierro, and people hate that one, but I've never had too much of an issue with it. Oh yeah, no, San
There's
Andreas
also
also has the train,
Yeah, the train mission, the
which
one
is
that's memed to death.
it's so fucking stupid. The train is fine. It's not that hard, and if you miss it, it's like it's your fault, and it's not that hard to just restart the fucking mission. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's such a meme. But 3 is one where like there are a lot of missions in 3 that will just hold a motherfucker up. I was stuck on one mission as a kid for like a week because I couldn't. And I gotta say, GTA 3 is probably the best mission design of the series, which is really sad to say
Yeah.
because I was about to tell the story, the mission Sayonara Salvatore, where spoilers, you kill Salvatore Leone, Salvatore Leone, all of the inconsistent voice acting in that game too. You kill him, and it's not like a big scripted thing where you have to like go to his mansion and like watch a cutscene and blah blah blah. He just like leaves like Luigi's, I think it is, the club.
Yeah, and then you just fuck him up.
figure out a way to kill him and get away.
You
and
can literally jack his car, drive and go put a bomb on it, then drive back.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I had
Naked
trouble.
Jakey had a great video on that.
Yeah, he specifically mentioned that mission. That's what reminded me of it too. Like I had trouble with that mission because I don't know, my tactic was like stand across from the rooftop and like throw grenades or something. I forget what I was doing, but it was something stupid. And I was like stuck on it for a week. And it's like so hard to get stuck on a GTA 5 mission for a week. Like how would that even work? You're just so bad at shooting
You
the
just really
guys.
suck at the game,
Yeah, like there's no creativity or anything. There's no I have to plan this out and get out of here. It's just like and there's some good missions in 5. I'm not even being like that dismissive, but like yeah, I don't know. I just really miss the era, and it wasn't just that one either. Like there are a lot of missions in that game that are like, here are like 10 guys, kill them in within 5 minutes. Go nuts, figure it out,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
there's a
that was
lot
the
of that.
game. And yeah, it was like a sandbox mission design, where it's not just like a series of linear, you know, Call of Duty levels or whatever within an open world, which is kind of what 5 winds up being a lot of the time. But that's just as Rockstar's mission design evolves, quote unquote, throughout the
Yeah, I was
years.
about to say.
Evolves and devolves.
Evolves is a very strong word.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the Red Dead games at all, by the way? I touched
Uh,
on 2 a little bit.
we can.
Yeah, I don't know. It's related, I think. But yeah.
Man, just three still has a lot of design elements that are clunky, but I still have a lot of fond memories of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things about 3, it has like it's the last one that well, no, I think one of the PSP ones also did this, but it's the last main one that had mostly original songs instead of like
Yeah.
licensed music on all the stations. There were a few stations. I think the rap one had some licensed songs. There was the Scarface radio station, and there was the classical station. But I
Yeah.
think all of the rest of them were like original songs from in-house, and they're
I
really
Never
catchy.
forget
I
them coming
think
back with
I
the
think it was 3.
The blows, yeah.
I think it was 3 was probably the last one of that, because I think Liberty City Stories was pretty licensed, and Vice City Stories was really licensed. They even got
Yeah.
fucking Phil Collins.
Liberty City well, they even had a whole mission about Phil Collins for some
Yeah.
fucking reason.
Oh,
Liberty
hey,
City
did there
Stories.
have to be a reason?
No, not to be fair, no. Liberty City Stories. I guess I don't know, do we want to do this, talk about this one real quick, like
Yeah,
after,
I think we should
yeah.
probably include the stories ones. They're more directly tied to each other, I think.
I think Liberty City and Vice City Stories. I really wish we could get like a remake of both of those games, like
Yeah.
of 3 and Vice City, and they just also have those like factored in some way as part of it, because those games are really good
Oh yeah.
and they don't fully hold up because there's a lot of shit. Like I give up. I don't think I've ever finished Vice City Stories because it gets to be really annoying. Every minute or so you're getting calls about they're attacking our business, Vic, you gotta go, and it's just such a
Yeah.
fucking pain in the ass. And that's like halfway through the game, and I just stop. I lose interest. But there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of cool mini games. Liberty City Stories, I mentioned how GTA 1 was like Smash TV, the old arcade game. Liberty City Stories had a mission and a mini game called like Slash TV, where it's a top down. It's like a parody of that, but you just have a chainsaw and you cut guys up, and it's like just a lot of little fun things that they do that shake up the GTA PS2 style,
Yeah.
in those 3 or Liberty City Stories, notably. Most important thing about it has motorcycles, and it has a virtually an entirely Wu-Tang Clan dominated hip hop station.
Oh yeah.
Almost every
Nice.
song on the station is just like Method Man and Raekwon and shit. It's pretty good.
Hell
Fuck.
yeah.
Which
That's also like an incredibly uh impressive PSP game,
yeah.
because I think it was like like the second year the PSP was out.
It was very
2006.
I
early.
think so. Let me find the date.
It was quite early, and yeah, I mean, even just to have like the GTA 3 map, which was a little smaller and everything, and it doesn't look as good as the PS2 game, but that still, for like playing that on my PSP now, I'm like, wow, this is pretty crazy that this is running on this thing.
It was the next year, because, or no, it was the same year, because March is when the console came out. October 2005 is when Liberty
Jeez.
City Stories.
Yeah, that's wild. Not even a first party game, too. And it was probably one of the most like impressive looking things on the device.
I mean, the fact that you had essentially a game that came out like 3 or 4 years prior, on your handheld fucking device, it's fucking wild.
Well, not even that. I mean, I think Liberty City Stories is like longer than 3 because it's got.
I think if so, it's just slightly like it's about the
I
same
think
length.
it's okay. 'Cause I think it's like I've heard that it's. I also haven't finished that one. I don't remember why, but I heard that it was like really padded out, like in the second half. I think that's the big complaint against that game is like just so
Yeah,
many missions, like to the point of ad nauseum a little bit. That's what I've heard anyway.
there's a lot of games where it's like, oh, you could have trimmed this, and it's kind of where that started. Actually, was Liberty City Stories.
So we are talking about Red Dead Redemption. Cool, cool, cool.
Yes, yes,
Um, but I
All
will
right.
say Vice City though.
yes.
I love
That
Vice City so much.
that is a game where they probably could have either both trimmed things and extended things. Because the
Yeah,
game is way too short, but also feels unfinished. I don't know. It's like unfinished, but like it rushes to the finish line. Also, it's weird.
Yeah, it's like half of it is where it should be, and then half of it's like not enough where it needs to be. You know?
Yeah, I played Vice City like a year ago, and I really liked it again. The music is good. The story is fun. As a kid, you don't know that it's just like a rip off of various movies.
Yeah.
So it's just your first, like, I don't know if for either of you, but for me it was just like the first time I'd ever cared about anything that was like crime fiction, crime media. And it didn't really matter. I guess I'd watched some CSI or whatever, but it didn't really matter to me that like, oh, this is just Goodfellas or this is just Scarface or whatever. It was like this is, a fun story where the guys yell and say, "That was my money, Tommy."
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
They, you know, Vice City is just such like there's so many positive ways to describe how they got that tone.
Yeah.
It's a vibe of being in the 80s because obviously none of us were born in the 80s. We don't know what that was like, but
yeah.
it definitely gives this feeling of like,
Movie 80s.
yeah, it's what we've all seen in film. It's what we've all seen in like, yeah,
It's the
Miami
vibes.
Vice. Yeah,
And
It's
like
just vibes. Yeah.
consider that if they made a GTA game set in 2002, that would have been further longer ago than when Vice City was set when
Yeah,
they made
you
it,
got
right?
it.
yeah. It's like it's longer now with like making a game set in 2002 than it was for them to make an 80s game,
Yeah.
and
Which
Wild as
they
hell.
they fucking nailed it.
does that make it like the first big 80s throwback thing?
I'd say in
Um,
gaming, but not in like
absolutely
media.
in gaming. Yeah, I'm not sure about media because
I
I
don't know if
mean,
there were other movies or anything at that point that were like super celebrating the 80s
The
outside of like that far from the 80s. Maybe like
Yeah,
something that was a little late to the party in the early 90s.
I'd have to see
But
what Boogie Nights, what year that was set in.
oh yeah, yeah, or like was Night at the Roxbury 90s?
Oh, that might be
That was
80s.
also an 80s thing too. Yeah, I don't know. I guess there was probably movies and stuff, but definitely
Okay.
for gaming
Yeah, but
and
okay, Boogie Nights was 97. So, and yeah, that was set
yeah.
during the 80s.
Yeah, I mean definitely for gaming, Vice City is.
Yeah.
And it was like an original concept at the time for an 80s game. And then what did you have? Guitar Hero 2 Encore rocks the 80s.
Yep.
And then after that, basically no other game
until
until
like
like
Blood Dragon.
2011. Oh yeah, that was around then. It was when
Blood
Kavinsky and
Dragon.
Drive and all of the 80s revival shit was happening.
Yeah, Blood Dragon was either 2011 or 2012, 2013.
I
Yeah.
think
Or
I'm gonna
13, I
say
think it was.
2013.
Yeah. But like, yeah, 80s stuff did not happen for a while, and Vice City was ahead of the game on that. And it was an interesting thing, really, because like, I don't know. eh, It was an interesting time for that to come out in. Because nowadays, everybody has a cell phone in their pocket at all times. But in 2002, that was kind of an early time for that. People didn't. In like GTA 3, you would get like pager beeps from people to tell you to go do a mission, which was a little bit quaint
Yeah,
and,
it's wild.
classic.
Yeah.
But then in two, it was funny because in Vice City they were like forward thinking. They were like, no, Tommy Vercetti had a cell phone in his pocket at all times in the 80s, which is like it's just funny
A
to think
massive
now.
fucking brick phone.
Well, yeah, like it's funny to think now it's something they would put in a game now as like, well, everybody's used to phones, so haha, he had a cell phone, even though that would probably be unlikely. But came out in 2002. It's like, yeah, no, I don't know. And then San Andreas, he just like CJ just has a cell phone,
Yeah,
which is
CJ's just like, all
also
right, fuck it.
also a little bit out of time. But yeah, Vice City was like they just kind of appended a bunch of shit to GTA 3 basically.
Yeah.
Within like a year of it coming out, and like such a night and day difference. I mean, the game feels different. It looks fairly different, I would
It
say.
looks a lot better. In fact,
Yeah.
I would go as far as to say that Vice City is the best looking game out of the PS2 trilogy.
I'd agree.
Artistically, I don't think it is like technically
No,
better
I
than
think
San
technically
Andreas.
too, because
Really?
San Andreas has a lot of like areas that are
They
very barren.
Yeah, they did have to
I
simplify a
guess
lot of
so.
things because
Because the world was fucking massive.
yeah, which hey,
Yeah.
I respect. They
Yeah.
they fucking got as much as they could out of that generation.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. They definitely did, and it does make me like it's sad because I mean we'll get to five, but one of the big complaints with five is they have coasted on online mode for like a decade now, over a decade now.
Yeah.
Well, no, not over, because online mode was like 2 weeks after the game came out or something.
Yeah.
But
So
Yeah.
it'll be over a decade, maybe probably by the time
when
this
this
hits
comes
YouTube.
out, yeah.
I think
Um,
oh god, I think it was like October 1st or 2nd is when it went live.
Yeah, it was around that. I played it once on the PS3 at launch, and I got killed by someone, and then I killed them, and I got a dunce cap, and I got angry and never played it again until like earlier this year.
Funny enough, I got an interesting story about GTA Online. I'll save for when we get to talk about GTA Online.
Nice.
All right.
I've got a lot to say about GTA Online. I think we all do, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some
but
positive, some
so
very
positive,
negative.
yeah. And I want to talk about like the future of it too with six,
Yes.
but I will just say, yeah, five is a little sad because yeah, they coasted on the online mode for like a decade, and at any point they could have, had like a smaller studio make like a city stories game, a small thing,
Or just like
or
a
flip it and
DLC,
do yeah,
a
like flip it.
DLC like on like fucking Las Venturas.
Las Venturas or San Fierro,
Yeah.
everybody was saying that for years. Just flip the fucking game like you did with Vice City. Like you took three, you had three done, and in a year you put out the most classic game in the series, basically. It was like just an asset flip, kind of a cash grab, kind of just, yeah, we have like whatever, we have this stuff. But in like the Yakuza tradition, of
Yeah.
like an inspired cash grab, an inspired asset flip, like making the most of what you have, your engine and all this stuff. And they just didn't do that for a decade. They could have made a GTA 5 Vice City kind of thing, but that was not profitable for them in the same way and I feel like it would have been, honestly. Like you could have just given that an online mode too. And like I don't know, like it could have been profitable, but they just decided no, my shark cards and fucking casino.
Yeah. See,
That's the way the world works, I
See,
guess.
here's the thing. I'd be less apprehensive to Shark Card and Casino and all that if we did end up getting those DLCs, even if they were paid for.
Yeah.
I'd still be
Well,
like,
yeah.
okay, that makes sense. You
Yeah,
use it to
at least they're
build.
fucking working on something.
Well, and especially considering how amazing, and we'll get to four, but
Yeah.
four's DLCs,
Some
it's
of the
like
best.
that
Just
is
in
an
gaming.
early. Well, yeah, that's like an early view of like how DLC as we know it today, and it's still one of the best that I can point to. Like they tie it in with the story. The game, each one is distinct. They're long. They bring a lot of interesting stuff, new music, like and five just we get shark cards and like I guess a heist every now and then, which woohoo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Having played some of the heists, yeah, woohoo, flat woohoo, unexcited woohoo.
We never got to finish all those heists, but that would be really fun to do sometime.
Yeah,
Sometime, yeah.
maybe do it.
Why
Do it for
people
the
funny?
podcast.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of which, what are we at? Oh, we're at like 35 minutes.
Okay.
How long are we thinking this is gonna be?
I'm thinking
I
maybe
don't know.
hour and a half.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like Vice City and even Vice City Stories, which
Yeah.
I really do think between the two PSP games we got, that is probably my favorite.
Yeah, it's a lot better than Liberty City Stories, but I mean it's got some issues as well, but it's definitely it's like one of the more developed ones of like that whole generation because you've got business ownership stuff, you've got tons of mini games, tons of missions, a lot of variety. Like it's almost more impressive than San Andreas at parts.
Yeah.
Especially given what it is and like the fact that it was not a main like Rockstar North game, you know. One of the main things about that game that's of course funny is that it stars Lance Vance's brother and also Lance in the supporting role.
Yeah.
Lance
Victor
Vance's brother,
Vance.
who Vic Vance, who dies in like the first 5 minutes of GTA Vice City and is not the same character, looks different,
Yeah, completely
and
different model. They didn't even
they
try.
didn't even
There's
try.
no,
It's
no,
so
no. See.
strange.
The thing is, there's there's two different Vince Vances. Of
Oh,
course.
Oh,
I see.
The parents just decided, yeah, you're Vince 1, you're Vince 2.
Vincent and Vincent. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Vice City Stories. The whole story focuses on Vic Vance, who is like not. He's he's kind of like the most noble GTA protagonist, I think. I saw a video that called him
Yeah.
that, and in my own like thoughts, I'm like, yeah. Come to think of it, like maybe Franklin is kind of a nice guy, also a little bit, but
Yeah, I like Franklin.
Yeah.
Vic Vance is the most like I don't want to do that shit, man. That's illegal. I don't want to do that, and like to the point where that's almost his entire character is just being a bit of a stick in the mud. Like
Yeah,
he's
it's
in a
like
crime game, and it's like, bro, get with the fucking picture.
dude, shit or get off a pot at this point, man. Come the fuck
Yes.
on.
Yeah, and the whole game is him and Lance, and they're trying to like get ahead in the crime world. And it'll be like they'll find some dude and do a deal with him, and then Lance will be like, "I don't think we can trust this guy, Vic," and you'll have to like betray him, and that's like the plot of the entire game, basically. It's not a
Yeah.
very good story, but like it's a pretty fun game.
Yeah,
Moment to moment, it's got good like dialogue and stuff.
it's a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Plus,
it's
especially on a PSP, it's hard to like, it's hard to get anything better than that.
well, yeah, like it's easy to judge it in a way, playing it on an emulator now, like the PS2 version or whatever, or even
Yeah.
just playing the PS2 version on your PS2 with a
Yeah.
controller on your
Well,
couch.
also the PS2
Playing this
version's
fucking
kind of
thing on a
fucky.
bus. Oh, was it?
Yeah, well, a lot of those games on like a lot of the PSP to PS2 games usually had some weird downgrades.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do remember it was always notably uglier than the other games. That one and Liberty City Stories. The other
Yeah.
PS2 games, even just the other GTAs, it was like, why is this so muddy and shitty? And yeah, it's because it was just like a PSP port. But yeah, playing that shit on like a bus in 2007 or whatever. This giant, hugely developed PSP GTA game with like I mean, a big world. Again, it was just a game from a few years ago on a home console. You were
Yeah.
probably still playing that shit on your PS2 at that point in time, and you could just play it portably. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah. And then the next game in line is probably the one I think is everyone's favorite. It's like this and 4, I think, are the two that are really like,
The popular ones.
yeah. San Andreas, man. You know, I could have, I
Yeah.
should have just pulled the rug out from everyone and said Advance. I forgot about.
Manhunt 2, everybody.
Yeah, you know, actually, should we talk about the other games now with Start of Manhunt?
I never played Manhunt, so I
I
don't really have
played
any.
I played a tiny bit of Manhunt
I have
like a
finished
year
Manhunt.
ago. Oh yeah.
Yeah. A wild experiment and a much darker experiment for them to do after Grand Theft Auto. But I think the first game especially fucks. It is
Really.
it is an intense, weird horror game that should
The
get a
first
remake.
game especially, more than the second.
The first game more than the second one. I think the second one, I don't know. The idea of you're trapped in a snuff film is
Yeah.
a lot more exciting in a gameplay sense.
I don't really know what the second one's about. I played a little of the first
Yeah.
one. I think the second one is considered better by people.
The second one I've only played a little bit of, and admittedly, I really need to probably give a second chance now that the somebody has found, and because it's abandonware, you can legally download it. The uncensored version of 2 for PC.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
So
Yeah,
look for that, folks, if you're listening.
I will say
Go onto myabandonware.com.
Yes.
I will say I absolutely fucking can't stand what I played of Manhunt 1. I wanted to let Bane talk about how he felt about it because it's a game a lot of people like,
Yeah.
but like I played it and it took me about 20 minutes to realize it was essentially an entire game of the terrible stealth from San Andreas.
Yeah, you do have to kind of be used to San Andreas stealth.
If the whole game was Mad Dog's rhyme book mission, if that was the entire game.
Well, now here's the question: did you play the
I played the PS4 version.
Oh, okay. As I say, did you play the wonderfully fucking Rockstar assisted versions on PC, where you get to play? Yeah, that was a controversy recently. The Steam version has the anti-cheat measures that they put in for paying customers. So if you play the game with the base ISO, guess what you're gonna get? What they tried to use to block pirates.
Cool.
Yep, thanks.
Oh man, that's a good thumbnail, Tristan. Good job. Damn.
Yes.
Tristan's just banging out a great
just-
thumbnail.
Just slap some stuff together.
Just whatever. Go fuck yourself. That's
Oh,
a good thumbnail.
that is really nice.
I mean, I literally did just slap some stuff together.
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, no, I didn't really like Manhunt too much, but I know a lot of people do. It's like a classic.
Yeah, it is not everybody's cup of tea. I will say that.
Yeah, my non-GTA Rockstar fave, which I think I like more than any of the GTA games, really, is Bully. It's one of my favorite games ever made. It's
play it again sometime.
It's a fascinating game. So there's a there's a YouTuber who people don't talk about anymore. His name is Swegta. He used to talk about Bully until he became I don't know, he's like unhinged now. It started out with like a trans related like transphobia kind of thing, but then also he just made a bunch of videos like Swegta fell off, like milking it, like lol cow shit. But he had a bunch of videos back in the day. He was like mainly focused on Bully. And it was really fascinating to watch the videos that he like the cut stuff from Bully, because that game, for as much as I love it and how it's like one of my favorite games ever, the atmosphere is perfect. The missions like feel like it's a great ramp up. The final mission is great. That was all going to be completely fucking different. The main kid, what's his name, Gary, the enemy kid, it was going to die. at the
Yeah.
end. He was gonna like fall off of the fucking clock tower. He was gonna be like a school shooter or some shit, I think, too. It was gonna be way darker. There was gonna be more violence. Like Jimmy had the option to like fall and die in a vat of acid or some shit in this one mission.
Jesus.
There was a bunch of shit that they completely cut, and I think it was a lot of it was like last minute. So the fact that it wound up like in the state that it did, and that it, to me, not knowing any of that, felt like just a perfect game where there wasn't any of that, to be seen. I think that really speaks volumes for it. And then they like re-released it on the Wii and the
The Wii and
360.
360.
The Wii version had like weird motion controls. I remember that much.
Yeah, they tried to
'Cause everything
adapt
did.
it, and
Yeah.
gee, what an idea.
What a
That's
concept.
that's just the late 2000s in game summed up, honestly.
There was a
Wii
Yeah.
cool
version, oh well,
version.
it's time to
Wii.
waggle it up.
Yeah.
Waggle
Yeah,
mode.
I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned it last time. Maybe I did. I was talking about Skate in the last episode. There was actually a Wii Skate game. It was like the one thing I can point to where it's like they made it a waggle game and it actually functions, and it's not even worse than the regular controls because the regular controls were already kind of imprecise. Oh, I just had to get that out there. But
I feel it.
yeah, no, Bully was the one that they put on the Wii, and it was kind of funny because there was never, I mean, GTA Advance existed, but
Yeah.
everybody was like, they're never going to put a GTA game on the Wii. They would never put that, and they didn't, they would never put San Andreas or whatever on the Wii. They probably could have, but they just chose not to.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they could have at
which
least
is
done
which is weird.
three.
I
Like
feel like they could have done any of them, really. The Wii was powerful enough,
you
but
know
they,
the
you know,
weirdest thing is, but we did get Manhunt 2.
wait, did it?
That's strange.
Yeah, it got Manhunt 2.
Okay, that is extremely strange. Yes. Why
Yeah.
didn't it get like Vice City then? What the fuck?
It was heavily censored. Like
Oh yeah.
That's probably why.
but the game was also censored on PS2 and normally on PC. I think the uncensored version was only on Direct to Drive, if you remember Direct to Drive.
I do not. No. Well, kind of. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Bully. I guess there were some other ones. Like there was Midnight Club as well. I mean, there were a few other sort of Rockstar games that they made back then. Notably, one of them that they didn't make was Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it was
Capcom.
it was weird. It was like Capcom and them, I think. I can't fully remember how
I
that
think
worked.
They assisted with it in some way. Yeah.
Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, they published it maybe. I think they might have published it, but then they
I
like just
think
bought it
So
from
developed
Capcom.
by Rockstar, published by Rockstar. What?
Wait, seriously?
huh.
Developed by Rockstar
No.
San Diego, published by Rockstar Games. Producer is Stuart Spleakin.
Okay, that's very strange. Because I know that Capcom was involved in it in some way. Maybe like some of
It's
the
the first
people,
Red Dead game.
yeah, some of the first, or some of the specific developers might have been Capcom names. But
I think so.
yeah, that game was, I guess it was made by them. Yeah, I suppose. They also technically, published at least Max Payne 2. And yeah, I never played Smuggler's Run, but that was another one that they made. I've heard of it. And then The Warriors was probably the other semi-big name from that time that uh, Rockstar put out, which another one I never played because I need to watch the movie, but I hear it's
Oh, the
quite good.
movie's really good.
Yeah. I hear it's actually like a pretty good, I mean, not like a good version of the movie or whatever, but
Like a
like
good
it's
take
faithful
for
to
it.
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
people like it.
I feel it.
But yeah, the main one, of course, of the era was San Andreas,
Yes.
Yeah.
of 2004.
One, one
Hot
of
Coffee San Andreas.
one of just the biggest fucking games of all time.
You guys
Yeah,
ready for some opinions?
Yes.
go for it.
I never really liked San Andreas all that much.
Why?
I can
The RPG elements, like, it's just like, I don't really feel like not having CJ be fat, you know?
I
You mean you want him to be fat all the time?
No, that's the issue.
you
Oh.
you don't want to have to deal with having to pick him, like make him fat, make him skinny, and balance it.
Yeah.
So you prefer more of an arcadey GTA kind? Like, what would your ideal GTA be? I guess.
Well, I don't really have a vision of an ideal GTA,
Well,
but
okay,
my
like
favorites are Vice City and 4. If that.
Mm.
okay, so here's a
Those
question.
are
How do
very
you,
different from each other, though.
well,
But
how-
four
Yeah,
doesn't
true.
have the GTA. Four doesn't have the RPG stuff, though. So I see what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Like
how do you
the
feel
the
about
most.
fives? How do you feel about fives RPG stuff?
I'm not really that big of a fan.
Okay,
I
so
mean, it's
yeah,
it's
maybe,
Fives.
it's
well,
not
five has a
quite
very
as bad.
slight, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
Fives
wasn't
is
quite as
so
bad because you just get better at like flying and swimming and running and all that. But
Yeah,
like,
but
it's
it's
so
like if
negligible. Yeah.
yeah, but
yeah,
I can see where you're coming from though, because you don't like it there, and you don't like it in. Okay, so I
I
get where you're
mean,
coming from.
there's
yeah,
things I like about it in San Andreas. I always kind of forget elements like, oh yeah, you have to like learn new fighting moves.
Yeah,
Um, one of
yeah.
the annoying things is when you're trying to bulk up at the gym and it'll be like, okay, you're tired today, come back tomorrow.
I fucking hate
This
that
this
so
like
much.
yeah.
stick RPG bullshit in my San Andreas game. Yeah, there's
That's the part
that.
I hate the most.
There's like scarfing down 20 burgers in a row and vomiting, which is
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, that's a
it's
fun
fun to
stuff.
do, but also like
Not great to have to do.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was that one mission with Woozy Moo where he'll be like, "Come back when you've increased your lung capacity and you swim around for 40 minutes, and that'll be fun."
Yeah, it's basically like just tap X and just hold your analog stick to the left or right for like 30 minutes while you sleep. You know.
I will say I also didn't really like I liked how big it was. I liked the variety of cities and locales, but like I said before, it just didn't really seem as detailed as it could have been. Well,
Uh,
as I would have liked it to be. I'm pretty sure it's as detailed as a fucking PS2 could render.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was detailed enough that a frequent issue on the PS2 was flying a plane into a tree that spawned in 5 feet in front of
Yeah.
you. Because it's a
Yeah.
PS2, it's a giant PS2 open world, which
Yeah.
was suitably giant at the time. But then when they remastered it, and I guess we'll get into that in a bit, but they just removed all the fog and everything and made the whole fucking map look like the size of like a
Yeah.
McDonald's. Like
I
it was
can't.
tiny.
I can't place it, but the shots of like CJ standing at the top of the tallest building
Yeah.
and just looking out at the environment.
The entire square map.
Yeah, the entire fucking like you could see like precisely where that shit stopped. I can't place it, but it reminds me of some like rendering software that I've used.
Oh. Oh.
It's not the Elder Scrolls construction set
I was gonna say
because
Blender,
that's
but
yeah, it wouldn't be Blender. It's a modding tool for a game, but I forgot what game it was.
Mm.
the thing I'll say, like, we'll probably talk about that after. I'll save my opinions on that for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's.
But
That's gonna
you
be
know,
fun.
yeah, fucking the whole game is so expansive and wide, and it already feels big before you leave the first city, and it's
Yeah.
something that it's
Yeah.
still, because even when I have played recently the definitive edition, it still feels that way, you know.
Yeah.
It's big.
One of
It's a
the
big fucking
things
world.
One of the things back in the day, and just talking about the map, like people, we talked about the stories games, and people were always wanting like a Los Santos stories or something. And
Yeah.
the argument that people always had with that was, well, if you make it just a Los Santos game, that city's too small.
Like,
And
no.
any one of the cities are too small. But if you make it the whole map, then that won't fit on a PSP.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
kind of like a good way to condense that's like a good microcosm of the map discussion in GTA or in San Andreas is like it's a little too small and too big for its own good. It's too
Well,
small for
to be fair, it's only too small. It only seems too small when you're
Yeah.
looking at all of it.
And
I
It's still a
mean,
big map.
honestly,
it's a pretty big map.
you could probably cut out Las Venturas and just do that, San Fierro and Los Santos,
Maybe, I
Uh,
guess. But
That's how I do it.
it's like there were ways that you could have done that, yeah, and I think it would have been fun. Maybe just do the cities and cut out all of the wilderness stuff, like have 3 separate cities that you travel to. Something like
yeah,
that. But
because I know at least in the past trees were like really fucking expensive to render. So
yeah,
that could
Yeah.
just hey, look at that. There's your fucking GTA Los Santos
PSP
stories
game.
on PSP.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah, but like
Or
I don't
PS
know.
Vita. Eh?
Yeah,
It's
I actually
definitely
yeah, they could have done that for Vita.
they really should, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
instead we got Chinatown Wars, which we will get to, but
Oh yeah.
they yeah, I mean it's definitely more noticeable now, especially like the definitive edition and even just playing it now that we know we've played bigger games and we've played this game and it doesn't feel that big anymore. But I mean, even just like I don't know, each city has an airport, like which is
Yeah.
just a giant waste of space.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Las Venturas is mostly freeways, which is just kind of like mostly a. I mean, I've had some fun on the freeways, but it's like it's not as interesting as like city streets or whatever.
I mean, it is true to Vegas, but
I guess, yeah. I don't know. It just feels like even within the cities, there's like kind of a lot of chunks of like space that's not really being used. I feel like the wilderness is, if anything, like I like that part of San Andreas, just being able to like take a Sanchez out and fucking do, ramp off of some geometry a little bit, go off-roading, which is something that they later ruined in GTA 5, I'm happy to say.
oh
Well,
yeah.
it's not that bad if you get like a dune buggy or something else that's like
Yeah,
Yeah, but
if you
something
get
that's fast but not like a bike. Because
also
yeah, bikes aren't
ever
great.
since GTA 4, bikes have kind of sucked.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh god, yeah.
yeah,
We'll,
and
we'll, we'll get there before.
yeah, but San Andreas, like 3 cities, a bunch of new, like it's the same engine from 3, and it's a bunch of new weapons. It's really interesting to see that, like, compare the progress between GTA 3 and San Andreas to like the progress of Oblivion versus like Skyrim. And it's like identical engine. I mean, almost everything feels and looks not really the same, but like not a whole bunch better in Skyrim. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't really look better, it just looks maybe different in some ways
yeah,
from Oblivion. Whereas like yeah, GTA like San Andreas like looks completely different than 3. I mean, you can tell it's the same engine and everything, but like yeah, huge visual upgrade, tons of new weapons and stuff. People will randomly talk to you on the street and you can respond positively or negatively. You can buy crack from people. You
Yeah.
can
hell yeah,
fucking you can do all this stuff and it's all on the same engine from 3. It was really impressive. It just looked a lot better, like the lighting and stuff in that game, like just they managed to optimize that engine really well for the PS2, and it made it look like a next gen game in 2004.
Yeah, which you gotta think it's right before like next gen consoles started dropping, right before all of that.
I mean, that shit
It's
looked
fucking
better in some ways
wild.
than Saints Row, which came out at later on the 360.
Yeah, so Saints
yeah.
Row
Saints Row
1,
One's kind of rough.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
not
like the
aged
aesthetic,
super
but
well.
I find it to be charming in its own way, but it's
Yeah,
not.
like the
Yeah,
aesthetics good, the fidelity maybe not.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not great. San Andreas has I know. What do you guys think about the story?
I think
I
the
like the
story is
story.
pretty
I
solid.
really like the story.
What do you guys think of the story of all three? Actually, we haven't really talked about the other two
Oh,
because
ooh,
three
okay.
is really simple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
three is
I have no opinions on GTA 3 story.
I think
yeah.
threes is fun, but it's like it's just there. It's nothing really.
Yeah, it's a little brain dead, but you're having a good time while you're doing it.
I talked a little about like Vice City. It's like it's the first time I really cared about like crime fiction and like you know people fighting over cocaine money or whatever kind of storyline. Um, I never. I don't think I think I saw Scar. I might have seen Scarface years later, but like the fact that Vice City is still what sticks with me more is probably
Yeah.
says a lot about me.
Eh,
But
I'm
No,
on
I
that
get
yeah,
same wavelength.
the plot of Vice City is pretty fun though, I'd say. San Andreas is the most built up and complex of the three, I guess. It's
yeah.
kind of just
There's more
boys in
going
the hood.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just Boys in the Hood, which I haven't seen also, but like it is yeah, there's more going on. There's like character betrayals. I guess everybody knows the plot of fucking
Yeah.
San
I mean,
Andreas. You
Yeah,
know, spoilers, I guess.
you
spoilers.
don't need us to tell you that Officer Tenpenny is a piece of shit, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that first cutscene will do it for
Spoilers
you from
abound.
yeah. Spoilers for everything going forward because it's kind of hard not
Yeah.
Yeah.
to, honestly. So
Especially with
Especially
like 4.
4 and 5 get really story heavy, yeah.
yeah.
I have a lot of really good opinions on GTA 4 story. I
Oh
love it.
yes.
Yeah. I'm
But
I'm
we'll get
I'm
there when
I'm
we get there.
happy to talk about it. San Andreas though, yeah, its story, um, fucking big smoke. I didn't see it coming as a kid, and it's a good twist because you play it now, and it's really obvious.
Yeah, it's like you start to see it
Hmm.
and you're like, oh shit, yeah, he's like
Like
saying
He
some
is
that's
weird
just.
shit.
Why are you not in Grove Street and you constantly got the cops at your house? And like, how did people not see this?
Well, yeah,
But
you
somehow we
obviously you
didn't.
think like a character who's supposed to be your friend, you don't really think about it, then just like, oh, stabbed right in the fucking back.
yeah.
Yeah. And Ryder also. People don't talk about it as much with Ryder because he was kind of also
Yeah.
always a little bit of a piece of shit.
Yeah, he always felt
Like,
real distant, but he always, he's just so fucking cool. You just liked him anyways.
Yeah.
well, yeah, he's easy E. You know, you
Yeah.
gotta like him. Um, but then yeah, there's that. There's the Tenpenny stuff. San Andreas' story is like a really. The more I think about it, I'm like, okay, so yeah, you're in Los Santos and blah blah blah, crime, Mad Dog's rhyme book and all that. And I like the fast ass, not the slow ass. You get, most of my memories are focused on OG Loke for some
Yeah.
reason, and his
I
missions,
mean,
and the
yeah.
one where you steal the van from the beach and stuff. Like, I don't know why, but that's what I'm thinking of. And then yeah, you end up leaving Los Santos, and then the game just gets weird for like the rest of it, basically. The whole rest of the game is kind of strange. There's like a hippie guy that makes you break into Area 69 and steal like aliens at one point,
In a
and
jetpack.
like there's a jetpack. There's just a whole part where you're like running a casino, and it all feels like it's like a fucking fever dream to an extent. It's like, how did we get here from just like gang banging a little bit in the hood, and now we're like in escaping from the military with a strange alien goo. And I don't know, it gets suitably wacky. It doesn't get so like Saints Row 3 wacky. Burt
Oh yeah.
Reynolds shooting at zombies or whatever the fuck that happens in that game. The
I
purple dildo.
that game I zoned out on while playing it.
Yeah. It doesn't get so insanely wacky, but like it's wacky enough that it's memorable. And I just
Yeah.
think about like
It's fun.
the mission where you burn the weed field. Uh, the
So
mission.
someone did the calculation on how much weed was in the truth's van during that mission.
Oh
It
yeah.
was a
Uh,
lot. It was a hell of a lot.
Oh
yeah.
shit.
What happens in that mission again? Because there's one in Far Cry 3 where you like burn down a fucking weed field while Skrillex plays, and it's really
Oh
bad.
God.
It's like
So from what
a
I remember,
notorious terrible mission.
the cops are onto the truth for growing a shit ton of weed.
Yeah, like a lot
So
of weed.
he packs up everything and like peels the fuck out, and he says, "Hey, burn all of my shit so the cops don't they don't get on to me about this."
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
I remember it.
I'm just remembering now, like there's also that whole part where you're working with the villain of the third game, who because the third GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas all exist in the same universe.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's worth pointing that out.
I forgot who from 3 shows up in Vice City, but I do know that Claude just straight up is there in San Andreas,
Donald
just hanging
Love
out.
from 3
Yeah.
is
Yes.
is Avery Carrington's buddy in his limo, his apprentice or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think there might be something else. Laszlo, obviously. I gotta
Well,
say, by
yeah,
the way,
Laszlo's just been a recurring character
the
since 3.
Yeah.
the top radio
Oh,
stations, Chatterbox FM is still my favorite one.
there's
And
also Tony from Flash FM and Flashback.
oh right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right, Tony. Yeah, but the talk radio stations, I'll just say Chatterbox is my favorite one still. I think for me it's like Chatterbox, V Talk, or is it V Talk? The one pressing issues where we press the issue, VCPR.
Oh,
That one.
yeah.
That's like my second favorite, and then the other one from Vice City, and then I guess the one from San Andreas after that. I never really listened to it too much in San Andreas. It was an okay station in that one,
Yeah.
but they're all pretty good. But yeah, no, there is Claude Speed shows up, the main character from from 3. I would say the first game
Yeah.
from 3.
From the first
Uh,
PS2 game. First game in the
yeah,
PS2 trilogy.
the first important one. Let's not kid ourselves. We can't say that they wouldn't exist without the But
Yeah.
yeah, Claude Speed, Katarina, one of those.
Catalina.
Catalina. She is like your crazy Colombian or whatever lady who I don't even remember. This is why I mean it's like a fever dream. It's like there's so many missions where it's like I guess this lady from GTA 3 is here. I don't really remember why CJ needs to be in her like path and be doing missions for her and robbing banks and shit with her, but he sure does for some reason. They just have a reason why he needs to be with her, and yeah, Claude is there. Rosenberg from Vice
Oh
City
yeah,
shows up
Ken.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rosenberg, that ambulance chaser. He's later on. He's once you're in like the fucking casino era or
Yeah, you're
whatever.
near like the ass end of the game at that point.
Yeah, there's just so much that fucking happens in San Andreas that's like I'm just thinking about it like, oh yeah, there's the part where you sneak on board the fucking ship. There's the part where you steal the fighter jet from the thing and you gotta like fucking swim there and like all this shit. It's a very varied game. There's just a lot of stuff that you do. I remember
Yeah.
toward the end, it starts to like bog down a little bit, but there's like you do like a go-karting thing. You have to like reunite with OG Loke and you go-karting through the city, like to chase a guy. And it's like they still have interesting stuff they're doing right toward the end. It's great.
I'm glad that I'm glad that has kept having a good legacy.
Yeah, I'm glad there wasn't any
Yeah.
terrible re-release that tarnishes that legacy at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
It's
good.
really good that that never happened.
Never
Although
happened at all.
I do kind of wish they kept with the same continuity because there's the
Yeah,
2D universe, then there's the 3D universe, which everyone knows and loves, and then there's
and
the
then the
HD
HD
universe, which is 4 and 5.
universe.
And
Yeah.
I kind of just wish they kept going with the 3D universe.
Yeah, I mean,
I do too.
Like,
you know,
don't don't fuck anything with the main characters. Maybe besides like a quick cameo, like in San Andreas. But like, have Rosenberg show up in GTA 4, and he's like an old dude who's all like, "Yeah, well, I got this client. He needs shutting up." You know.
Yeah, I mean that would be fun. But then another issue with Rockstar. I mentioned before how they're like secretive in some ways. Rockstar, another thing with them, notoriously not great with their voice actors. So there's a chance that there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who they worked with before just did not want to come back. Like I know the guy who played Rosenberg I forget his name. It's like Bill Fichter or something. He's a reasonably well-known actor. And yeah, like there's a chance that I was really surprised when in Red Dead 2 when Marston came back because I remember that he had like him specifically and also the guy who played Nico had like an issue with I forget if it was like not being paid enough or what exactly it was, but they were not happy with Rockstar.
Yeah. I think
Also, I think
some of it
the
was
guy who played
some of it was
I think
the rights for
yeah,
voice acting. Yeah,
the guy who played CJ also, I think, too. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he had some other issue. And then Stephen Ogg also has an issue with the let me see if I
really?
can find. Yeah.
Man.
Let's see if I can find
Well,
out why again.
that brings us swiftly along, I guess, to 4.
Oh well, we didn't
Well,
talk about the
Before we do move on to 4, I just want to
Okay.
talk about the engine that the PS2 trilogy was made in.
Oh,
Renderware.
renderware?
renderware.
So I know that that Rockstar didn't make this engine, but I just want to list a few other games that
it was made by
are in the
Criterion,
Sonic
by the way.
Heroes.
Is Sonic Heroes? Yes, it was.
It was.
It
Cool.
was.
The Burnout guys
we
made
have-
the engine, so the Burnout series.
Really?
Yes, a
Interesting.
lot of Burnout games are on this list, but The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, Attack of the
Woo!
Twonkies,
Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare,
Oh.
Barbie Horse Adventures,
Woo!
Battlefield 2,
Mm-hmm.
Broken Sword 3, the one that stopped being good,
Yeah.
Call of Duty Finest Hour.
That's the PS2 one, the one that kind of sucks.
Yes. Frogger. Oh, actually, Frank Herbert's Dune, which I didn't
Ooh.
know they made a video game based on Dune in
Bro,
the 2000s.
I saw a little of that game. I thought it was KOTOR. There's a part the screenshot that I saw looks like just a shot from Tatooine. It was kind of funny.
Nice.
I mistook it for KOTOR, and then I'm like, oh wait, this is a weird Dune game. Okay.
There's also a Friends trivia game.
Yeah, the one with all the trivia, yeah.
Yes.
Did you own that?
I did.
Hell yeah, dude.
One of the Fate games was on Renderware. Huh.
I mean, everything was on Renderware. There's a
Yeah.
video called Renderware. I think it's called The Engine That Powered the PS2 or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
most games from that generation. Not most, but like a great
lot of
deal of them.
games.
I think the Tony Hawk games. I think, Sonic Heroes.
We're-
One of the... And
We
the
have
the engine is now owned by EA, so one of the reasons why, the definitive trilogy had to be made, like, or why Sonic Heroes hasn't been re-released, or a lot of games from that era.
They'd have to port
is
it
because
like they did.
they'd have to completely remake it, or I guess they can't just license the fucking thing from EA. That's so impossible. Like,
Well, EA
I don't know
probably
if it's like
wants
a pride thing, or just like it's so expensive.
Yeah, EA probably wants like a premium for a lot of these companies now.
Yeah.
Which,
I
hey,
guess
here's the
so.
thing: Renderware, as long as they just don't pull Unity, they may be able to make a comeback.
Yeah.
But
So
we should talk about the
just to-
definitive, though, shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah, I
let's
guess we
let's
should.
do that last, because I feel like that's
Last?
the
All right.
thing where it's
Oh,
just going to
okay,
be the
yeah.
most. It's going to be a nice build up.
All right.
So
Sure,
just
sure.
to go through a few more of
Well-
the funny ones.
Well, let me knock out one thing real quick. This will just be a quick one. Cushy Dreams, code Loud25. We're not going to do a full ad read for this
Yes.
episode because
Yeah.
that'll make
Go
us
check
kinda
out Cushy
I'm
Dreams.
tired.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a hyperfixation. This is the one you listen to when you've already bought your cushy dreams and you're high off your ass.
Yes.
Listen. Cushy Dreams is good. Use code LOUD25, get 25% off, and also help us because we get a bit of a kickback.
Yes. Yeah.
Help us help you, bring you more podcasts.
Yeah. Get
You
more
know?
Yes.
hyperfixations.
I need to get a better fucking microphone.
Yes.
So
One
Speaking of
that
that, by the way,
actually picks up when I press on my fucking Xbox controller.
yes.
Nice.
Speaking of that, by the way, real quick, I'll cut this out. I should be getting you that sometime in the next week.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes.
Nice,
Alright.
nice.
Have that set up. I could do some cool recording.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Also, the one that I linked you doesn't come with a pop filter.
Okay.
If you can't get that, that's fine. I can use a sock.
Hey,
I just learned
I feel like, hey, I
Nice.
don't use a pop filter on mine. I just play the risk, you know.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Man's
Pop
peas
filter.
are punctual.
Oh, dude,
Very
people hear
punctual.
me eat sometimes, and I've probably gotten a couple hate mail messages from that. But hey, I haven't seen them yet.
Probably.
So.
Well,
Fuck it. You know what? Let's keep that in. That's funny.
Yeah, hey,
yeah,
there we
that's
go.
fine.
All right. So just to continue with the funny renderware games,
Yes.
Frogger Beyond,
Oh
Frogger,
no.
Oh, that's the
Ancient
bad one.
Shadow.
That's the other
They
bad
They
one.
made more.
Frogger. There's a lot of bad Frogger games. I recommend watching Noodle's recent video. Actually, is it recent? I think it was a year ago.
There was a whole year or so, like it was a while that Nitro Rad was playing through all of the 3D Frogger games and the advanced ones and like DS games and stuff. And yeah, it's more bad than good. Basically.
God, how horrifying.
There's also Frogger's Adventures: The Rescue.
Oh.
I mean,
Garfield.
I want to point out that you are naming all of the funny bad renderware games, but this is the engine that like Tony Hawk and like I think The Simpsons Hit and Run and just a lot of like classic games from that era.
Not Hit and Run,
not
but
Hit
The
and Run,
Simpsons game and The Simpsons skateboarding. I'm not sure if that was good.
No, that one's absolutely
I
terrible.
know-
The Simpsons
I know
game's
The
okay.
Simpsons game is good.
Yeah.
But
that one's pretty good.
we got a Hello Kitty Roller Rescue.
Oh,
that one's
fuck
awful.
Yeah.
An Inuyasha game. That's pretty cool.
Oh, is it the PS2 one?
Fucks.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Motherfucking Killer 7 was on this? Hell yeah.
Yeah, lots
yeah.
of fucking games were on renderware, man.
Let's see.
I do think
Let's
I think the
get a couple
remaster
Prince
got
of
ported to
Persia on
Unity.
there?
Prince of Persia. No.
Oh.
There is a
Oh no.
Mhm.
there is a Winnie the Pooh Piglet's Big Game under P.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
that is a
It is now legal to torrent that, considering it's not public domain
Well-
anymore.
I don't know if that's how
Or
that
it's in the
works.
public domain now. You know what I mean? I got-
Nah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Disney still owns the rights to Disney's Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Eh.
It's like a weird thing where the book character Winnie the Pooh, where it's just a bear who likes honey and he has a friend named Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
That's in the public domain. But
if you
red
bring-
shirt Winnie the Pooh with like
you
an
bring
H-U-N-N-Y.
Tigger in here, yeah, any of
I think
that
Tigger.
shit.
I think Tigger's public.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
Tigger
hell
is
yeah.
because he's in the new
I think
that
most
new
of
horror movie sequel.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
I
God.
need to. Oh, I'm gonna do so much bad stuff in the name of Tigger.
Hold on. You gotta be very careful the way you say that name.
Oh, Tigger, please. It's fine.
Soft
yeah,
A.
it's okay if you use the A.
Yeah.
Well, just to round off with one
That's
more. funny
our
one,
word.
There's
One more
also
funny.
Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure.
Oh, Rumbly
Oh.
Tumbly.
So yeah, very prolific engine, very good engine. Actually, I'm not making a joke.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's a great engine.
I mean,
It propped
shit.
up a
Harry
whole
Potter and the
console.
Prisoner of Azkaban, Scooby Doo Night of 100 Frights, SimCity 2013,
yeah.
Battle for Bikini Bottom. Great games were made in this engine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
games. Anytime you see an old PS2 game that's getting like a remake now, it was probably in renderware, and that's why they need to remake it now.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, not Destroy All Humans. Interesting.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, they just wanted to remake Destroy All Humans. They just
Yeah,
were like,
they just
fuck
said
it.
aliens.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
really have a good idea for a third one, so they're just like, we'll just keep remaking
But,
the first two.
Renderware, I guess, was not so good with physics and whatnot. And as they moved on to bigger and better table tennis games, they decided that they
Yes.
really wanted to focus on the physics of table tennis.
Yep, that
And
and they didn't have to pay.
incidentally,
Then they didn't have to pay anyone for using the engine either.
yeah. Well, incidentally, while they were making the tabletop, that I keep wanting to say tabletop game, they made a tabletop table
We
tennis
should do a
game where you
fucking
have.
loud equals funny campaign.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun. I'd be down for that. But
Jeez.
yeah, no, they made a table tennis game, and incidentally, they happened to make the physics engine for a GTA game, instead of instead
Just by
of
accident.
Yeah.
just as a joke. Yeah, instead of renderware, 4 went on to use what was it, Rage,
Yep, the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine.
which I remember hearing before 4 came out. The lead up to 4 was interesting because it didn't excite me at all. I saw images of it and I was like, this looks kind of lame. I don't care. And I would see more of it. The one thing that kind of excited me, there was the mission where you apply for the job at the place, and I saw some of that. I think I saw like a magazine article about it. It was like, that sounds pretty cool. But like for the most part, I didn't care that much. But then, yeah, there was a thing that I heard that said that the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine was able to simulate NPC pain. So when
Yes.
when you hit an NPC with your car, it like simulates how much it hurts them or something. And the way that it was like written, everybody was memeing at the time like, so this is like a torture simulator. You could just torture the NPCs.
Hell yeah.
And
Sounds
basically
fucking baller.
basically that was the first thing that sold me on GTA 4 is what I'm saying.
I mean, if you ever hit someone with those cars, they definitely look like they're in fucking pain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still very convincing.
Honest to God, it's more visceral than in 5 whenever you hit someone with a car.
Oh, far more.
You just see them
Okay,
fucking
so
splay out. It's like, oh, Jesus.
GTA 5. So I just like earlier this year in like February or something,
Yeah.
January, something like that. I was playing through the whole series, and I played GTA 4, and I realized as I was playing it that it's my favorite GTA game. Because
good.
the soundtrack,
Yeah.
everybody loves the soundtrack in San Andreas, but I feel like there's just maybe one too many like hip hop stations. Like I get that that was the
I mean,
vibe at the
yeah,
time,
it's
but
the
like
vibe.
you
Yeah.
could have just made like like one fewer, but made them as long, like a little longer. Had as many songs. It just feels like there's like 4 or something that are just like you could just consolidate this down to like 2 stations,
I mean,
maybe.
true, but there are a whole bunch of different like genres of hip hop.
I guess,
Like even
yeah.
back then.
I guess so. I don't know. I mean, I like hip hop, obviously, but like, yeah, I don't know. I guess there's some on there too, like SFUR. I never really cared too much for. But for like outside of, I don't really care for Vladivostok,
I
but
love
a lot of
Vladivostok.
a lot of people do.
I will say I hate new Vladivostok.
Oh
They
yeah, they did
changed
change
they
it. Yeah.
changed like 90% of that fucking radio station and it
Okay.
sucks now.
Maybe that's why I
Yeah.
don't like it, because I don't really remember ever listening to it until like a little while ago. No, I don't think this playthrough, but like a little while before that, I listened and I was like, yeah, this is kind of lame. But that one and like Electroshock, I never cared for. But
I can
outside of those
understand that
two,
one.
you've got like The Journey, which is just the sound of GTA 4.
Yeah,
You
the
just like
journey's great.
turn that on anytime it's nighttime and you're in like Algonquin. You just hear the
Yeah.
Philip Glass song playing that was in the trailer, or anything from that
Yeah.
station really. It's got the 2 rock stations, which is like indie hipster
Yeah,
modern rock.
LCHC and the other
Oh
one.
yeah, no, there's 3 because LCHC, there's Radio Broker and the classic rock one.
Los Santos Rock Radio. Or not, fuck,
Yeah,
Liberty Rock Radio. God damn
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Okay, hang on.
Um,
Very similar names. Okay.
I
and
will
it's
say
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm a little bit less big on the soundtrack for GTA 4 besides Vladivostok, and I also just really like the tune. But
I like the
what
rock
I
and
do,
rap stations.
what I do, I do the gamer move. I
Uh,
fill up my custom radio with Eurobeat,
I
ooh.
and then
see.
I
Well,
drive a
that's good.
shitty car around recklessly.
Nice.
See, I do that, but I also mix it with like video game soundtracks. 'Cause I'm a dork. So like
I
there's some
switch mine up a
Persona
lot.
music, there's some fucking Halo music on there.
It's hard for me to bother these days with the custom radio thing in games because I'm just like I can just like earlier today I was like I'll just turn off the music in Skate 3 and just I was playing a Persona sound playlist actually.
Yeah, admittedly,
Speaking of,
a lot of stuff I do now is with Spotify instead of
yeah.
whatever's
But
in
back
game.
in the day, that was definitely cool back in the day. And even now I did import some like Wu-Tang and stuff into 5 when I was playing online mode.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
well,
like,
because
yeah,
they also
be
have.
fun to I thought when in online mode if I play a song on my end that it would play it for other people, but
God,
Yeah,
I
sadly it
wish.
I
didn't.
wish
Holy
too.
shit, I
That'd
wish.
be so
It was
fucking
so
cool.
cool.
But one thing I do like about that is whenever they have like actual like in-game commercials between your tracks, it's like okay, that's nice.
I actually really hated it in I think it was in 5 where I
Yeah.
put songs in and it was the guy in between would he consistently like the joke would be haha your music is bad anyway here's another song and I was just so annoyed like can't you like okay I get it
There's
but
something
can't you just like
else.
give me another joke like does it have to be my music is bad every time like come on man I
Like
don't need this in my life.
broken fucking record. You're just getting insulted
And
constantly.
I will say that was actually part of, it's talking about 5. Definitely worse in 5. It's a lot less so in 4, but that was a thing that I noticed that made me not really like I don't know, as I was playing through the series, I started to the series is known for being cynical and like it's a parody of American culture and everything and modern media and all this stuff. But it's so cynical, especially the radio and like some of the ads. We're not that way in the PS2 games, but specifically like 5 and 4's radio, especially. 4's like talk radio is probably my least favorite in the series, as much as I like the game the most its talk radio just annoys me. It's like South Park, but not as funny. And
Yeah.
it's really 2008 trying really hard to be like edgy and just like haha sex and I just got so annoyed with it. And it's worse I think in 5 where it does get a little like, God, I get it. You're cynical. Don't you have anything else to say? A little bit, which
Yeah.
is a shame because they did. It felt like they did to some extent have more to say, and in the storylines they tend to. But when it comes to the humor, it's a lot of just like, I get it. Yeah, the tech billionaires are shitty. Yeah, haha, blow up the guy's head. Life Invader. Yep.
I mean,
Everybody sucks.
yeah.
It's just like it's cynical toward everybody. There's like no real heart to like, as 4 has something. 4
Yeah.
has like a family thing, but
Yeah.
5 especially, it's just like constant, like everything is shitty, everyone is bad. Michael is shitty to Trevor. Michael is shitty to Franklin. Trevor is shitty to everybody, so who even cares that
Right.
much?
I think that Franklin is the only one that is actually an optimist to that story, where he's really like the way he sees just a way to get out, not to kind of keep doing what he's doing, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of that. He's not. I feel like even he is a little too like I don't know. Maybe he's corrupted by the end or something. 4, on the other hand, I really like the story of 4.
4
Uh,
has, I think, my favorite story.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and the people always bring up 4 in the sense of like ludonarrative dissonance because 4 tries to be all I have done bad things, but I am good person, and then you blow 15 people up with a rocket launcher the minute the mission's over. And people always bring attention to that, but like I don't know, outside of that, the actual story that it's telling about the immigrant coming to America and there's themes there that are interesting. I think it's doing a lot of. I complained back in the day when I played 4. I was kind of annoyed that a lot of the game, it just feels like you're like a lackey for various people. My one big thing is way too much of the game focuses on the fucking McCreary family. Uh, that gets really annoying really quick. Like the bank robbery stuff is fun,
Yeah.
but you spend so much fucking time with the McCrearys and just the various fucking McCreary family members. You do missions for like all of them. There's just so fucking many of them, and eventually I'm like, can I just do my own thing? Can I run my own business or something? But that's not really the story that it's going for. You are like a bitch, basically. You just trying to work, trying your best to be like a working man. You're not going to be. Nico's never going to like run a company or like lead a fucking whatever. He's a dirty work guy. He's like a mercenary guy.
Yeah,
So
like
it actually makes sense what you wind up doing as Nico.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a man that through all of his life has been forced to do the dirty work, so he doesn't really know anything past that.
Yeah. And it even works in like a gameplay sense. Like I guess we're kind of already talking about 5 a bit. We're gonna get more into it in a bit, but
Yeah.
like 5, the missions of 5 also got really on my nerves after a while because they really wanted to excite the player in like every other mission. It had to be like you're jumping out of a plane, you're in a submarine, oh, you're piloting a whatever, and like, man, I don't know. 4, I just like that so much. People complain about 4 because it's simple. You just drive around and you shoot people, and you get out of your car sometimes and you shoot people, and maybe you run and you jump or something. But it's like it's simple. It plays to the game's strengths and to what Nico actually does as like a person, like shooting and driving. That's what he's good at. So like it makes sense that most of the game is that. And 5 is like trying way too hard to be like, now you're fucking in a submarine. Now you wake up in a mysterious base and you have to escape. Now you are sneaking into whatever and you have to like, man, I get it. It's epic. It's super epic. I got it. It's great. 4 is like subtle.
Yeah.
4's missions are as simple. Like the first few missions. I mean, even the very first mission in 5, you're driving, and what is it like? There's the intro mission where it's like a whole bank robbery, explosions are going off, and
Yeah.
fucking helicopters, and then you're like in Michael's therapy office or whatever, and then now you're with Franklin, and you're fucking stealing a car, and you're going on this giant chase through the city in slow motion. And like the first few missions of 4, you're just like driving around a little bit, and maybe you might have to shoot a gun twice or something.
Yeah. It's like, oh well, here's your cousin. You help him out. Oh shit, he's gotten into trouble. Isn't that crazy? Time
Yeah,
to fucking punch a guy. No
yeah,
guns. Punch him. Punch him
yeah.
again. Do it
Guns
harder.
are treated with a lot of weight in 4. Like it takes a
Yeah, like
while before you get
you go
one.
in. Yeah, like
My story means anyway.
Yeah.
like there are no actual gun stores, so you have to go into like this underground fucking dingy ass area where someone's like illegally selling them.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole new different vibe. I love it.
Yeah, and yeah, the vibe. I mean, people also complain about the 4 is like controversial in general because like there's a lot of things people complain about. People don't like the parts of the story. People don't like the missions being as simple as they are. People don't like the driving, which I think we can just say quickly, fuck off.
Oh yeah,
Ba-
driving's pretty good.
Bane, you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier how they simplified like the physics engine, and I was gonna get into it, but I got sidetracked. I played 4 and 5 like right after each other, right
Yeah.
beside each other. I think I was playing them at the same time actually for part of it. And 4's driving is still the best in the series. The cars are really fun once you get used to driving them. I know that it's difficult. I had trouble back in the day too. but they are really fun. And part of why the missions are so simple and why that works is because it's just a huge part of the game is just weaving in and out of the New York streets, or sorry, Liberty City streets.
Yeah.
Weaving in and out of the fucking taxi cabs and shit. It's like a huge part of it. And it's slightly more difficult to do. And then in 5, they made it really simple. The cars feel all arcadey and simple. And the physics engine really sucks. When you hit a few people, like when you fucking pull an ISIS and you just mow down a whole fucking sidewalk in 4, you feel like a bad person in real life. In 5, it's nothing. It's like playing Carmageddon. It has no weight to it.
In 5, it's just like hee hee.
And like they don't like stick to the windshield. They don't deform your car. The car deformation shit in 4 is unreal.
Yeah.
You could I guess in a fucking tire and it's like desperately still trying to move.
Like, it's hilarious how much you can fuck up a car. It's not as much as like Beam NG Drive, but for like a 2008 PS3 game, it's fucking crazy.
And my favorite thing to do was we would get people together on GTA and fuck around with physics. Me and a group of friends, which if you're listening, hey Ryan, how you doing? But yeah, we would get together, get a few people together, and do this thing called car bowling, because you can manipulate this game's physics to absurd degrees, and ramp cars and like corkscrew them in air and shit.
Nice.
Yeah, you could do so much more with your cars in that game than you can in GTA 5.
Well, it's interesting to talk about the multiplayer also, because 4 had a multiplayer system that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to say the other controversial thing was the tone of 4, by the way, which I still want to talk about, but like the other thing that I'm thinking of now too was, so you had the cell phone thing in 4, which was new. Kind of new. You had them before, but like you had it as a menu interface thing. That was how you entered cheats. So the cheat system, I think, without question, is worse than the PS2 games. You don't have any cool, wacky cheats, nothing like that. You just have like spawning in guns and stuff.
In 4, it was some ways worse, some ways better, if that makes sense. Where it's like, you had those shitty, like not as many cool weird cheats, but you could store them in your phone and then re-access them.
Yeah, they were so much easier to use. But
That's
also,
true.
you lose the stuff like flying cars. Turn all the cars black. Angry pedestrians was so fun.
My favorite thing in San Andreas is to turn on like heads have weapons, angry pedestrians, and just try to like get from point A to point B without getting killed by people with rocket launchers instantly jibbing you.
Oh yeah, that in riot mode, really letting them all attack each other.
Oh yeah, well that too. You put that on and it's just absolute chaos, and you can't do that in 4, so that's a shame. That's part of the tone thing, I guess. It's less cartoony.
Well,
but the other thing I was going to say,
New York, they might not want to do that kind of thing after a certain point.
You probably don't want too much terrorism in New York.
No reenacting 9/11 with your fucking Oldsmobile.
Yeah. GTA 3, we didn't talk about it, but 3 notoriously has a bunch of missions that were cut or changed because it came out right around 9/11 and there were things involving terrorism or terrorism adjacent that were kind of
like, yeah.
That's
also how we got the cover that we have now, the cover design for a series, because they redesigned the cover before release, giving us the whole grid. Yeah.
I have not seen the old one. Is that out?
It's the European one. I'll find it for you.
Let's see. Well,
I have. Let's see. Here we go. Oh nope, that's fucking 161 by 203. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Wikipedia.
I was gonna say the other thing though. I'm mentioning the phone because the multiplayer stuff was through the phone in GTA 4. And it was kind of weird to activate a little bit. I remember at no point did it work that well. Like, at least doing it public lobby kind of thing. Oh, this box art. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I do like this a lot. I saw this at a store when I was a kid, for
yeah,
some reason. I think I was like, I saw a PC version that looked like this. Never went to PAL region, but um no, yeah, multiplayer in 4. I don't think it ever worked that well. But it was
no,
interesting. There were fun modes. I played some of it when it was available to be played, and I remember really liking like the cops and robbers stuff where you're just
yeah.
like battling in the streets or whatever. It was great. And
There
then
was
they
that. There was oh, what was that one? There was Bomb the Base.
yeah. Well, there was like a couple of bomb the base related ones, I think.
Yep.
Um yeah, it was kind of great, but it was filled with hackers from an
Yeah.
early point, and they never fixed it. They never really bothered to fix it. I don't think you can play it online anymore unless you're on like a weird public private server or something.
If you're on
Maybe.
last gen console, if you're like 360 PS3, you can play those online. Again, full of hackers.
Yeah.
PC, I think there is a custom thing someone's made, kind of like Multi Theft Auto, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
trying to play the original PC version is not available because of Games for Windows Live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
that's a real shame.
Remember Games for Windows Live?
I try to forget.
Mm.
But Red Dead 1 also suffered from that a little bit. It had a multiplayer mode that people liked, and then when they re-released it, no multiplayer mode
Yeah.
because I guess people didn't care enough. Like they liked it, but they didn't like it enough to be like profitable, I guess. Like I was about to call Rockstar EA, damn. Rockstar
Well, now.
um yeah, Rockstar couldn't figure out a way to like milk the consumer in Red Dead 1 online, or if by keeping up the servers in GTA 4. Uh and it's like cynical, but it's kind of what it is. 4's online was controversial. People liked playing it, but it was almost never functional. One of the other things that was controversial, I was going to say about 4, was the general tone. Mentioning like it was New York in the mid 2000s. It wasn't too wacky anymore. There was no more, fucking stealing shit for the truth and flying jetpacks. There was no more, and not even just tone, but like no more wilderness, no more backwoods shit. Outside of the towns, people felt like it was a step down from San Andreas.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know that it necessarily was, because it was a much more detailed city than any of the PS2 games.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is, like, it captures a vibe of, like, the best way to describe it is it's the best post 9/11 game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
specific kind of
That vibe of just how America was at that time, too.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as I was saying I was annoyed by like the humor on some of the radio stations and stuff, and a lot of even just the mission dialogue. Come to think of, there was this one mission where it was you and Packy in a car. Not a racial slur, YouTube. Do
Yeah,
not
yeah.
flag it as a racial slur.
Yeah,
Packy
Patrick
McCree.
McCree.
Patrick McCree.
Um, it's this weird thing where he's talking about how you were in jail, and so like Nico was in jail. Oh, so that must mean you were a prison bitch then, huh? And it's like this whole 5-minute fucking diatribe about like prison bitches and being fucked in the ass, and it's like, man, it's so unfunny, but at the same time, it's like this is really 2008. I can't
Yeah.
really even fault it. It's a time capsule. I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want it not to be this way.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
like it's also something that I think GTA 5 just is lacking. It's like GTA 5 is fun, but it doesn't really feel like anything, if that makes sense.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to, I don't know, overextend. Like, the thing about 4, like going 4 blew me away playing it again. I never played it I played it on the PS3 and 360 back in the day. I think I played Yeah, I think it was all PS3 I played it on back in the day, which was I think the ugliest, worst looking version. I even played it on like a 4x3 CRT when I first had my PS3.
Oh
Oh,
boy,
nice.
yeah. So
The
any
good old
text
days.
was the had that kind of Dead Rising 1 effect where you had to like
Yeah,
squint.
basically
Yep.
unreadable. Better than at least Assassin's Creed having no text, no subtitles, but yeah, no, I played that on like PS3. So playing it earlier this year at like 4K uh on my PC was uh really interesting because it was something where I'm like I legitimately don't think I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Cyberpunk has done better in terms of like detailed city.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk tried really hard and it all looks so artificial and hollow. You can just stand on any street corner in GTA 4 and it feels like stuff is going on and people are living and there's like shit happening and there's detail and there's things you never noticed before. And in Cyberpunk, whenever I do that, I'm just disappointed. And I'm like, oh, that's happening. Oh, they didn't fix that. I see. Okay, that's a shame. And
Yeah,
4,
which
I was just like constantly impressed, like, wow, they did this on the PS3 in 2008. What the fuck? And then 5 had none of that. 5
Yeah.
had just like, I mean, I guess it's kind of, the city looks nice. I don't know, it's nice looking, The map is pretty impressive,
It's
impressively
just
sized.
it's just not detailed enough.
No,
yeah,
there's no
Like
reason to go anywhere
there's
really or do anything.
like one of my favorite things about 4, and it's the stupidest thing, but I love it so much, is that if there's like a cup on the ground or like some like a mustard bottle on a counter, you can pick that up and
Yeah.
throw it at somebody.
You never need it for anything outside of one mission where they teach you how to do it, and then it's never used again. And I
And it's
forgot it until you mentioned it, but that is
it's
a weird little
just
detail that you
it's
have,
just,
yeah.
yeah, it's just I love weird details like that. It's great.
Yeah, and I mean, even outside of like gameplay details, again, you can just like drive. Like 4 is, I've never really had that much fun, and at least not for a long time, just driving in a game, just like slowly following the rules of the road in a
Yeah.
residential zone, and just enjoying the little Queens zone where like the McCreary house is or whatever.
yeah.
Like the little areas and the Firefly Island. I really like Alderney, that whole island. People give it shit for some reason. The joke is always, haha, it's New Jersey, so it sucks. But like, I
Yeah.
like that island. I have a lot of fun. It's
Yeah,
it's a
it's a nice little
very
drive
vibin'.
around.
Yeah, it's got a good mix of like industrial and also there's some commercial. It's all three like SimCity zoning districts.
Yeah.
Whereas RCI. But yeah, no, it's and I think I mentioned on a recent episode we were talking about Saints Row and how
Yeah.
Saints Row 2 came out around the same time as GTA 4. And it was directly compared because it was like San Andreas. It was like a little sillier, a little cartoonier, not so silly and dumb. The story actually had weight and stuff, and
Yeah,
there
it,
was
it knew when to take itself, like, take a step back and be like, okay, here's a serious moment.
uh,
And
yeah. Well,
3 did not.
that was the funny thing was that it was following in the footsteps of San Andreas, which also knew that. Like 3 wasn't or San Andreas wasn't trying to be like a cartoony, silly game. It was trying to be more realistic, but it just looked a little, the way it looked as a PS2 game.
Yeah.
So Saints Row 2 was just like instead of trying to look all real and color graded, gritty New York or whatever, we're just gonna kind of continue the tradition of San Andreas. And it was the same kind of tone, like dark comedy a little bit. Uh but it was like a little wackier. And that was the lesson that THQ learned, Volition learned was, oh, wacky all the way. Purple dildos and karaoke in the car singing What I Got and Burt Reynolds and zombies and Sasha Grey as a dominatrix character.
I mean,
Hell yeah.
I was okay with that part, but
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny the knee-jerk reaction to 4 being so serious. Like everybody
Yeah.
was so upset with how serious it was. And it's not even that serious or anything. I mean, again,
I
it's filled
mean,
with the worst and most immature humor in the whole series.
yeah, the internet cafe is named fucking twat.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
There's
TW ampersand.
Yes. What?
at sign, yeah.
What?
Um,
At.
yeah,
Oh yeah, not ampersand. Fuck, what's
I
it
don't know
called?
what they're called. Yeah, just at sign. Um, but
Yes.
But yeah, no, it wasn't that serious. The story does kind of follow a serious trajectory. We talked about it a little. I mean, Nico's an immigrant, but he's like, and it's the sort of the immigrant experience in America kind of thing is the idea. It's like the American dream is the whole theme of the game. But then it's like Nico working with his. Honestly, I never really liked Roman. He's such a shit. He's just such an incompetent shit, and
I
he's
like Roman.
always he's fun, but I don't hate him, but he's just like he gets himself into these problems and then he blames Nico for it for like
Yeah,
doing something about it, and like he never really grows out of that either. He's just
yeah.
kind of annoying the whole game, but he feels like your annoying cousin though. Like I
So
don't
so
hate
uh,
him.
so I so I take it you went for ending B.
Um, I don't remember what ending. I think the last time I played it, I got annoyed with the missions becoming increasingly long and difficult and having no checkpoints, and I just kind of
Yeah.
gave up. That becomes an
I
issue
will
toward
say
the end.
I fucking hate the last mission of GTA 4 for one specific reason.
Yeah.
It is broken on PC.
Really?
You have to limit your frame rate to as low as possible to be able to have a chance of winning.
Oh,
Because like
that's
there's this
miserable.
part where you have to like jump onto a helicopter and then like mash a button or hold a specific direction.
Oh, it's one of those frame rate physics engine fuck ups or something,
Yep.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
That was one of the fun things in GTA 3 and Vice City and a little bit in San
you turn
Andreas.
off you turn off the
Yeah.
frame limiter and shit just goes bananas.
You walk off a sidewalk too fast and hurt yourself for 10 points. It was so stupid. But yeah, no, that sounds miserable. I didn't get that far. I think the last one I played was Nico and Little Jacob doing a shootout for it was during the Diamonds mission. It was toward the end of that arc.
Right.
And I was just like, man, I died and I don't want to have to drive back here and do this for 20 minutes again.
Well, I mean, it lets
Um,
you restart the mission automatically.
oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, you just check
yeah.
your messages.
Yeah, I don't
But
know. I
also,
could
you'd have
probably
to do the whole
believe I could
mission
do it.
again, which just
It's
sucks.
still, yeah, it was like a long, follow me, my brother. Like, oh God, I know, I will, I know. Yeah, 20 minutes of this, and then you got to drive and everything, and it's like, yeah, it's annoying. But yeah, no, I like Roman a bit, like he's not, I like him as like an annoying cousin who you kind of roll your eyes with. And
Yeah.
I still want to take him bowling or whatever. He's still your friend, and that's one thing that game did really well that 5 kind of implemented, I guess, a little bit. The friend thing is in 5, kind of, but it's
A
really the best in
bit.
4. 4, like, it was funny because it was around the same time I was playing Persona 4, and it was like it was legitimately like social links with Roman and fucking little Jacob because that's basically
Yeah.
what it is. Like you be friends with them and then you unlock things as a result. I will say if you ever pick Playboy X, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck Playboy X.
If you ever sided against Dwayne, I don't want to be your friend. Uh,
Plus,
but
if you kill Playboy X, you get his house. That's how things
yeah,
work in America.
and
Yeah.
you get the Claude Speed outfit. I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that's what unlocks it. That's
Yeah.
always what unlocked it. Yeah. Yeah. No. 4's got a pretty interesting story. You follow Roman along. There's twists and turns, men from the past, new faces, old faces. It's a really good ramp up throughout the game. I also want to say left-wing dork over here talking about how a lot of the game is kind of immature or whatever. That can be an issue with regard to like, oh, this hasn't aged well. But I do like the character, what's his name, Bernie.
I love
Um,
Yeah.
Bernie, you'd think he would be played up as just a complete joke. For anybody who doesn't remember or doesn't know, he is a character who Nico thinks he's like this mysterious bad man from his past. It turns out he is like a very, very flamboyant gay man. And
Yeah.
you'd think it would be played up for like jokes in a way where it kind of is, but it's not really at his expense. He's like a nice guy, and
Yeah, he's chill.
he's
And
he's
he
chill.
also
He's one of
stands
the
up for
few.
himself.
He does. He's one of the few genuinely decent characters in that whole game. Him and like Kate, basically. And there's a few other people. Maybe what's her name? Roman's girlfriend. Like
Yeah,
Roman himself is.
Mallory's pretty cool.
Roman's not terrible, but like in terms of like, yeah, no. I I don't know. I like the story of 4 a lot. It's got a lot going for it, and it's kind of its own thing in a way that like the older games, you kind of look at like Vice City and San Andreas, and it's like this was fun, but they're also just like heavy pastiches of other movies and stuff.
Yeah.
4 is like, there's a lot of like HBO Sopranos or whatever in there, that era of thing, but it's all its own story, and it's a really good story. It's one that beginning, middle, and end, no huge like glaring plot holes or anything. You feel like you get a whole good narrative out of it, and it seamlessly interweaves the fucking DLC characters,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is amazing the way they do it. Playing it again, I was so impressed with just what knowing like they planned it out, and everybody who was ever I remember just having like a laugh at like everybody who was ever like, well, why didn't they make another DLC where you play, because they only planned for these two,
Yeah, it's like
because
Yeah.
they
they didn't really
very
have much
I mean,
obviously
past that.
if you
like
look, like if during the mission museum piece, you meet all three of them.
all of them are there. Yeah, like that was planned ahead of time, and it was great. It was so well done. Those two DLCs, people don't like Lost and Damned that much. I played a bit of it. I never finished it. I think I finished Gay Tony back in the day. That's
Yeah.
definitely the better one. But they're both like full campaigns, new weapons, new vehicles, new radio stations and songs, new, characters, decent length campaigns too for what they are. They're kind of like the Liberty City, Vice City stories of that era, basically. And
Yeah.
they're amazing. I mean, they really, the trilogy as a whole for GTA 4 is yeah, that's why that combined 4 combined with the two DLC is why it's my favorite of the series.
I agree. Honestly, for like gameplay wise, it's untopped so far. And the only thing I just really wish they would do is like fix the PC version to not be utter shit.
Yeah, the PC version is a rough port.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have it working with like, well, no, I don't have any mods on it, I don't think. I maybe have a couple, but I tried putting on like a an ENB series thing.
Yeah.
I think I did
ENB
something that
series is very hit or miss.
I tried to do something that fixed some of the like increased some of the textures or something, and it just made the sky all twinkly, and I just gave up.
Yeah.
It just like fucked up the skybox, and I'm like, you know what? It looks good enough as is. I think I'm good. I didn't have too many issues, but at least I didn't have to deal with the fucking six axis controller steering my bike without me. That was always fun back in the day, playing it on the PS3, getting on the
Oh
bike or
wow.
whatever, and forgetting I turned on six axis steering as a. I always thought it would be, oh, well, it's like driving a motorcycle. It'll be fun. And it was never fun. And you just crash your motorcycle and die.
I didn't know
So,
that that was a feature. That's cool.
oh, yeah.
But
It was,
also, yeah, it's definitely
it's kind
something
of
you're gonna
fun.
have to turn off.
It was
Ooh.
kind of fun, but it was very mid 2000s.
I'm trying to see here. Can't find. I can't find. I'm trying to find the original leak for 6 when we start talking about that, but I'm having a
Oh
damnedest
yeah,
time
the
finding that.
6 weeks too. Damn, this one's still going long. Shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we're just out here yapping.
yeah, mostly me. Um, 4. I mean, is there anything else to say about 4?
um. Well,
I
we
just
could talk
closed
about
the
the.
tab.
We could talk about the quick rumor of if they wanted to remake it at one point, or
I
at
was
least
not
like
Is there
aware
a
of that.
rumor
remaster
about
it.
that?
Yeah, there
Yeah, that
was.
would make sense.
Mind you, I was tied into the original Red Dead Redemption rumor where we were supposed to get a remake of that, and then that changed to what we
Uh,
got currently.
Can you
yeah.
imagine if GTA 4 was just flat out re-released, no upgrades on modern consoles?
I mean,
I kind of.
720p on Switch, yeah. Xbox 360
I
experience.
mean, hey, for Switch users, that would be fine. They never had that before, but
Yeah.
it's also like,
Upscale
fuck.
it to 4K on PS5. That'd be great.
Ugh,
Yeah, those 60 FPS though. Fuck you.
yeah,
Ugh.
Yeah,
all
no
30.
multiplayer mode.
Also, we're not gonna fix the fucking PC port. Oops.
Yeah, you thought there was going to be a
Man,
PC port? Haha.
I mean, before we get to 5, I have to say,
Yes.
we are talking about other Rockstar games, and speaking of Red Dead,
Yes.
I really wanted a remake of Red Dead Redemption 1 because
I didn't
I
even want a
did
remake. I
too.
just wanted it to be fucking ported to PC.
no, I wanted a
Just a
remake.
base, just a base port to PC. That's all I'm asking for.
I have
Yeah.
tried so many times to play through Red Dead 1 and I just always wind up hating it like by
It's
the
very
tall
slow.
trees area.
It's a very slow
The
start.
the
I
whole
really
game.
like it.
So I mentioned in 4, like the whole game you're like a bitch for other people and you're just doing dirty work.
Yeah.
Fucking Red Dead, the entire game, it's like they're aware of it and it's just not fun to me. I don't know, like every mission is John Marston going, "How is this going to help me find my wife?" And the people going, "Well, it won't, John, but just do it because we need the game to have 400 missions."
Like,
And so you just
okay.
drive your horse to some location and he does it because he's a bitch. And I just got so annoyed with it because I played it again after playing Red Dead 2, where every story mission moves the story forward by like leaps and bounds and has like character development or thematic relevance or something like always something interesting happening in the missions. Gameplay is whatever, hit or miss, Red Dead 2, but like Red Dead 1 is so slow and every fucking mission is just go to a place with your horse and shoot things or run with your horse or like it's very repetitive. And like the plot that I liked that was there was like being drip fed to me and I just don't get why. I don't know, why do you guys love it? Don't you guys feel
I
that way at all?
I just like the characterization and the
I
Yeah.
do
world building.
too.
It's
I mean,
I will
I do
admit that
too.
I will admit what you're saying there is its biggest negative. Like
Yeah.
it's
I
very
Like
rough to
I like
understand.
start.
I like the characters too. It's just that, yeah, like I don't know. This again, the plot stuff that I want is just barely there. And
It does speed up a lot, especially once you get to Mexico.
oh, I disagree. Mexico is like nothing happens the whole fucking game. That you do the whole thing in the first area with like Bill Williamson and all of that, and then you go to Mexico, and then it's just randomly you're just like in like the Mexican Civil War or whatever for some reason, all in the service of eventually getting to Javier, who you just like kill in like a cutscene, and it's so unceremonious. After playing 2, like Javier's like an important character, and he's really, he's a sympathetic guy, and to have him like reduced to just like some random dude who's just oft in a cutscene, I guess you can't hold that against the game having come out first,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it is just
It's
disappointing, and it was like I don't know, it seemed like the story took the main story of John and his wife and all of that and Dutch and all of that just took such a backseat like for such a long time for so many other reasons.
that's why
Uh
honestly I do think if you play the first game first, you'll probably like it more than if you play the second game first.
I guess. I mean, I played the first one first years ago, and I felt the same way. And then I
Yeah.
played the second one, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna like it because I didn't like the first one," and I did.
Yeah.
And that was because, yeah, in every mission you're doing different stuff, especially toward the end of the game where you actually go to areas from Red Dead 1. I guess spoilers for that too, but you go to
Yeah.
areas from Red Dead 1. I think we said spoilers ahead
Yeah.
earlier.
From anything
Yeah.
anything Rockstar puts out after GTA San Andreas.
San Andreas, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Red Dead, you go to areas from Red Dead 1 at the end of 2, you play as John and everything, and you're like setting up your house that is in Red Dead 1. And it got me really invested in that whole area. So I played through the first game again up until I got to the tall trees area, and you get to go to that town and go back to your house and everything. And they still just give you the fucking runaround on fucking just go here now and do this for me, and and it was the
Yeah.
same thing they did in 4, but like 4 it just made more sense because, like, yeah, you're just the immigrant working in America constantly trying to get a leg up, and it, like, I don't know, it made sense thematically, I guess. But thankfully in 5 every story mission has you jumping out of planes and doing insane wacky shit, and I hate the campaign of GTA 5. Discuss.
Okay, so here's the thing. I love the campaign of GTA 5, but as a follow up from GTA 4, it's such a step down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the characters a lot. I
Yeah.
really like the interplay between them. But the actual story it's everything I just said about Red Dead, but worse. The whole story is just they're randomly doing dirty work for the FBI or whoever, and just like eventually that stops happening and it ends.
See,
And it's like there's nothing going on. There's character drama, but
the way I will
man.
describe it is, and some people who are fans of Payday will understand what I'm saying here. It's like if Payday had a goofy story that didn't really matter. It,
I don't really
some
know much about Payday.
people who are listening will totally get what I'm saying, but to explain the Payday's universe went from goofy heist to weird, absurd cult behind the secrets of the universe. Also, you have to steal shit to rewind time. Not even kidding.
Okay.
It got
There's a
fucking
new
weird.
Payday. Is that all canon still?
I don't fully know yet
Oh,
because
that's pretty cool.
it seems like all of it's like a reset. So who the fuck
Yeah.
knows? But
Well, all chance to do wacky new things, just like the
yeah,
GTA HD era.
yeah,
Complete reset. And they kind of have some stuff. Speaking of that,
yeah.
what carries over from 4?
Well, what
Patrick
cares?
McCreary shows up,
Yeah,
and
Aki, Michelle, I think
yeah,
that.
Michelle. That's
you
no Johnny.
well, yeah,
Oh yeah, Johnny.
Johnny
Yeah.
and his girlfriend both die.
Johnny.
Yeah.
That is one of the things
Actually,
that
yeah,
made
most
me.
of the Lost that were still alive die.
Okay, so I never liked the scene with Johnny where,
Yeah,
introduces Trevor by killing the really cool character from Lost in the Damned who people like to a lot, nice guy,
yeah,
decent guy, built up as like a decent person, and he's just like curb stomped as like a joke, and it's just kind of really distasteful. And
I
playing
would
it
I would have
again,
been I would have been
I
fine if it was someone
disliked it
else.
more.
I would have been fine if it was someone else completely, like someone else, not well,
Yeah.
someone else from the Lost, if that
If
makes sense.
yeah, if it was someone else from that game, sure. Like
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. Like, no, there are no heroes in the Grand Theft Auto world. Nobody should be held up as like, and that guy was like an addict and everything.
yeah,
So there's reasons why that happened. It's not like it's just a complete random like shock value thing, but it just feels really,
yeah.
I don't know,
It just kind of it
disrespectful.
kind of sucks.
It's it just sucks, and it's meant to set up Trevor as being wacky and epic, but like, yeah, it just leaves me with an increasingly sour taste each time I play that campaign. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's a few elements from 4, but for the most part, it's its own thing. Um, and yeah, there's more elements from San Andreas even. than there
Yeah.
is from 4, which is kind of weird because it's not part of the same timeline, but the actual Grove Street cul-de-sac is there. Different
Yeah.
houses,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's the
But
same
still,
cul-de-sac, and
it's
you go
cool.
there. Yeah, and Grove Street is the name of the like gang and everything, so it is still. And I think the Ballas are there too,
yep.
so it
Well,
is
it's
like kind of
Ball's
connected.
territory in the new universe.
Yeah, and yeah, no, 5 story. I like the characters. Michael is a lot of people compare him to Tommy Vercetti, like if he was older or something. I don't
Uh,
really see it.
yeah.
He just
Eh,
kind of looks a little similar, maybe,
yeah,
But
he's just a white dude who's like eventually going to go bald. It's the only real similarity there.
yeah, Franklin, everybody compares to CJ for, I'd say, obvious reasons. They're both
Funny enough,
centered
Yeah.
around Grove Street and everything.
well, I think funny enough, I think the actors are actually cousins. I'm almost
Oh, that's
Really?
cool.
I'm almost
That's wild.
70% certain of that, and I'm going to quickly double check.
Yeah. And then Trevor is, as much as I don't like that scene, it doesn't ruin Trevor for me. He is a joy. He is like I compared Four's humor at parts to South Park in an unfavorable way. Trevor is like
Yeah,
Cartman in a good way.
it,
Like he reminds me of Cartman in the best way. And I really
Trevor's
like him as a GTA protagonist. I think he fits for the mayhem of the series.
yeah, Trevor's like a grenade, and like he's a grenade in a situation. Like
Yeah.
it's an explosion anytime he's near something. Something
Well,
bad is going to happen.
any scene, like what is this? I think the first scene where he meets Michael again is one of my favorite in the game, where it's just Michael having this argument with his family, and then just Trevor just shows up, and he's just like, "Hey, what's going on? We gotta help your daughter, bro!" And like he just inserts himself into the situation. It's great. It's very fun. And I think that's the mission where you like go and you attack Laszlo, which I
Yeah.
liked at the time because I was a big Laszlo fan. I'm still a big Laszlo fan. But
Oh, so yeah, he is the cousin of young Melee, Sean
oh,
Fontano.
that's crazy.
Yeah, he
Wow.
also had voiced one of the Grove Street family's pedestrians in San Andreas.
No shit.
Nice.
Yep, credited as Fam One.
The only pedestrian I know from that game was the character Orange 12, who
Yeah,
is the famous San Andreas pedestrian who wore a number 12 in orange, and he would say funny lines. And
this.
then 4 had the funny hobo who would shout cheesy vaginas.
Yeah.
There's there's that one that he is.
Okay,
Yep.
that's interesting.
It's a chubby one with a green bandana for anyone listening, because I'm not putting it on video.
Yeah, it's one of the folks you can recruit into your gang in the game and like have sit in your car.
Yep.
Um, yeah. No, the story, like the actual story, is not good in 5, but I like seeing the characters interact so much that it really never bothers me that much.
Yeah, the writing between especially the three mains, but there's a lot of good side characters. But the three leads of like Franklin, like Michael and Trevor are just really like they all both get along and give each other shit in equal measure.
Yeah, they feel uh they feel really good together. And the choice the choice that you have at the end, the kill Michael, kill Trevor, death wish thing,
Yeah.
is I think unfortunate that they decided to do that, because I don't know, it's cool to give people the option. I guess I don't want to be out here shouting about pronoun options, but it's cool to give people the option. But I don't know, having that story end in any other way than them all being like friends together is, I mean, on the one hand, the ending is really bad
Yeah.
though, because like now I'm thinking about it, like it's
not
unfortunate
great anyway,
when
but
when it's like they betray each other and it's like that's just miserable, and I feel like it's doesn't hold true to like the character arcs that are established in the game. But then
Yeah.
I'm remembering the actual ending, the Death Wish thing, where it's like, yeah, they just like stole so much money and killed so many people and ruined so many lives, and they really do just get to ride off into the fucking sunset. Are you kidding me? Like
yeah.
it's just the stupidest, like these guys don't get any kind of redemption for this at the end, nothing. You know, I guess that's what you get from like RDR2 or whatever, you know. You get more of that kind of like you can't be a video game protagonist and kill a bunch of like hundreds of people and just like live and be happy at the end. But 5 is just like almost dumb. Like, yeah, they've got themselves so deep into all of these problems, but I guess they could just tie this guy up and like kill him or whatever, and they're fine. Like Martin Madrazo no longer cares. The government doesn't care. They're fine. Don't worry about it.
Just let him go.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We don't mind.
This funny
Yeah,
little
they just.
guy, let him go.
I mean, it would be what would have been really good at the ending if they legitimately did like a fourth wall thing and they were like, well, we ran out our wanted level. I guess we're good, and they just go home, because that is what it feels like. Is like
That
I
would've been nice.
I have to bring that up too. Is the I don't know. I always thought about that playing the GTA games again was like, man, every time you have some cutscene that's like, oh, the cops are coming. Like, I don't care, man. Just drive for like 3 seconds that way to the pay and spray, whatever. Why is this like they try to have like in-game, like there's a difference between cutscene cops and in-game cops. And
Yeah.
you know that rears its ugly head a lot in the HD games. They start to get more realistic, especially 4. It's like, man, you could just drive a little bit. The cops don't matter that much. We're having this whole like chase, getting out of the bank robbery. I don't know. This could be really easy if it wasn't scripted.
Yeah,
But
it got a little scripted in a lot of places.
well, yeah, the mission design. I mean, of 5 specifically. 4 does this too. I said that I liked 4's simplicity, but it is still a lot of go here, do this now, get out of your car, walk here. You know, very directed Call of Duty, like, you know, follow the script of the mission kind of thing. Which I don't like as much as just kill a guy, I guess, forehead, like in 3. Um, but 5 takes it to the next level. 5 is fucking infuriating to me in the missions where it's like Call of Duty, like I say, like you'll fail the mission because you walk too far away from a guy, or you know,
Yeah.
just like a lot of really silly things that'll happen that are like, I don't know, just you have to specifically do things in the exact way that it wants you to do in this outlaw crime simulator where you're trying to like you fight it's like naked Jakey's video about Red Dead 2, basically. But it's worse than ever in Red Dead 2. But 5 is kind of where it really started. Is just like, man, this crime simulator where I'm supposed to have freedom and fight the law. I guess the fucking law won, because I just have to follow every direction that I'm given, and if I deviate even slightly, then the mission fails. And they even make it worse with the mission ranking thing, which I just fucking hate, where it'll be like, oh, in Red Dead 2, it pissed me off so much. There was one where you had to dig a bullet out of your arm. It was this really intense, like, story segment. You're like digging yourself out of this horrible thing. And I wound up getting like a bronze on that mission because I didn't dig the bullet out of my shoulder arm in a fast enough time. Like I didn't move. I didn't quick time event quick enough in the like horrible scene of like brutality, and they do that a lot of that in 5, where it's like, oh, you didn't spend enough of the mission in Franklin's time slow mode, so silver medal, fuck you, try again. and I don't know, I just got really annoyed by that. Like, man, just let me play the game the way I want to. What is this shit? It's so scripted. It was so frustrating, and the missions themselves are very follow this character, that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
it's very bad.
Oh yeah.
But I guess if you like what they're giving you, if you like following the character, maybe it's not that bad. But I don't know.
Man.
And then there's the online mode, of course.
Yeah, GTA Online's this whole fucking thing. Essentially.
Guys, do you want to buy some shark cards?
No, not particularly. No.
You want to get killed by some dude who has too much disposable income and a fucking flying missile bike?
Yeah.
You want to be inside of your apartment and still be hearing explosions and having a fucking earthquake happening inside your apartment because
Yeah.
some
Or-
guy decided to hack the server that
Yeah.
you're on.
It's
Or
essentially
just
playing a fictional version of fucking East East St. Louis essentially. It's great.
one time I couldn't get out of my bed because someone spawned an airplane inside my apartment.
Oh, that's fun.
That was funny.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so
great.
GTA Online, one of the biggest things ever, one of the most profitable things ever. It's funny that we spent so long talking about the campaign. We spent more time thinking about the campaign for GTA 5 than Rockstar has in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Because there have been no updates to it. I was actually really fucking stunned when I played through it again and I don't know, I expected I don't know, maybe just there'd be a new mission or something that they added in later that I didn't hear about, but no, nothing. Exactly the same as it was when I played it a decade ago at launch. Which is funny because they have barely updated the online mode in all that time too. They've added heists, they've added content, but they haven't fixed. There's so many problems that they've either not fixed or made worse.
Yeah.
From what I understand, there are things where there are the state that I started playing it in. I was earlier this year, and I was like, "Wow, this is really broken and bad." And all of everybody who I knew that played it was like, "Oh, you sweet summer child, you should have seen this thing for the first 8 years that this fucking thing existed before they fixed it." Uh, Bane, you told me that you used to. What was the thing you mentioned that you used to have to do, switching off your router or whatever to get into fucking a private get into private, right?
Yeah, to do what was essentially a public private, you'd have to unplug your cord on your router in a certain way to basically spoof it into thinking that you've lagged out to where it'll try to throw you into a public lobby again. Then as it's trying to do that, you plug it back in and leave it in. So that way it'll put you in a public private. And what that means is essentially it doesn't try to search for other people. For about mind you, for about 4 to 6 hours.
And all of this is because they didn't have the option to progress the actual online.
Yeah, you could not sell items in private lobbies literally until about 2 months before we started playing again.
You couldn't even. There was a lot of stuff you couldn't do until they allowed it privately, and
I think they realized that shit sucked.
Well, I don't know what they realized because, I don't know what motivates them to do anything at this point because the amount they have fixed, it's not enough. But then they fix something, and you're like, why? Why did you finally fix it? What? Wait, what? Because they did, and it took so long.
So long after the fucking
it took so long. It's still broken. We would play for a few hours in a night, and probably without exaggeration, I want to estimate around, I guess exaggeration, but it's an estimation of around 30% of an evening would just be spent not being able to sync up our fucking game rooms or being kicked out when we tried to start a mission or just whatever stupid, terrible problem. And this is one of the biggest games in the world.
Yeah.
And I got so annoyed with there's no excuse for this.
Man. Yeah, you would also not believe how much content got scrapped that we could have gotten as story content that later got integrated as as stuff for GTA Online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they kind of did, yeah. Like
yeah.
Franklin and Dr. Dre or whatever.
Well, so the two biggest ones were the Doomsday Heist was adapted from something called Agent Trevor. Um,
Ugh,
That
yeah,
sounds like it would have been
that would
fucking
have been so
fucking
much better.
phenomenal.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Diamond Casino Heist we got in 2019 was adapted from what was known as the Be Lucky Los Santos Casino Heist, which would be a separate single player heist. And
God.
then the other two that we know of but don't have any like anything really past knowing they had some content that got put in later content. The zombie apocalypse episode, which was going to be Franklin's episode. It's either Franklin or Michael because the two are interchangeable, it seems. So we're going to have a zombie
Man.
update for either Michael or Franklin, and then an alien invasion episode starring either Michael or Franklin.
I have never heard any of this before, and I can't believe I hate GTA 5 more now.
Yeah,
Because, like, those all sound great. Because the story sucks, but I want just wacky hijinks with the characters. That sounds great. And instead, the best you get is like Lester talking to your autistic silent character who won't say anything or do anything and just is everybody speaks at them in the world because it's a shitty multiplayer online game because none of fuck
yeah.
man that really sucks. I never heard about Agent Trevor before. I want that.
And
God damn it.
as it turns out, like it seems a lot of the like murals that were in like I think this is the mural that they were talking about. It's like this was
The one
teasing.
in Mount Chiliad.
Yeah, this was
Oh,
teasing all
yeah.
three of the DLCs.
Of course it was, and then they just abandoned it for money. Man, how
Yeah.
about that?
And then
That's a real shame.
there was found a sort of original style multiplayer, kind of like Grand Theft Auto 4, that was found in early builds, but eventually ended
I
up
mean,
becoming.
I like the idea of GTA Online. I don't think it's a problem. It would have been nice to have. I mean, I don't even think you need that because you have the game modes. You have like you can
Yeah,
do a death match in 5. It's kind of the same as 4. It's just like a different interface. But like, I like the idea of GTA Online. I like the idea of playing online with people in sort of a modern day MMO, but it's not an MMO because MMOs are garbage. Fuck that.
yeah.
Um, it's like it's kind of that idea. It's an online thing, and I like the idea of playing it publicly too. I used to play multi Theft Auto all the fucking time.
Oh, so did
You,
I.
the San Andreas CIT server. I used to be on there as the doctor, and I would fly around in a modded helicopter that looked like the TARDIS, and I would land on people and kill them with my helicopter blades, which were invisible because it was the TARDIS. And then the mods would have eventually go on to have to make a rule against helicopter killing people because I was just a menace, frankly.
Yeah.
Damn.
But
Hell
you
yeah,
know,
Delta
dude.
would do this.
I can't believe the Daleks did this.
You have ruined fucking Doctor Who for a generation of Brazilians, man.
No, it was a lot of it was there was Brazilian servers, Russian. By far the least common was English. I mean,
Yeah. Oh
of
yeah.
frequently spoken languages. As anybody who's played this type of like online game with servers, it's like it's Russian and Chinese and
Yeah.
Brazil like Portuguese and then English servers are at the bottom of that list, even though
Yeah.
it's like a
It's
game made by Western people
dude,
or whatever.
somehow at like worse ping than the fucking Brazilian servers.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
yeah.
how is the server hosted in Brazil at like 40 ping and a one
And
hosted in
then
fucking California at like 7,000? It's like,
and then you go into the English server and people are still speaking in Vietnamese in
yeah.
Gen Chat. It was
Oh,
great.
they're
Uh,
throwing slurs at you've never even heard before.
oh yeah, I got called a fish head. It was I apparently that's bad. I don't know.
It
But
sounds wonderful. I mean,
Yeah, no, but I loved that back in the day, and I didn't know any of those people. I didn't go in with friends and play it. I just played on public, and I was kind of a troll or whatever. But when I wasn't helicopter killing people, I was part of like a crew, where I was meeting people, and then a girl showed up and attention whored, and it broke up the crew, and that was really funny. A girl showed up, and all of the guys in the crew went awooga awooga and
Oh
started
yeah.
simping for her, and the whole crew fell apart.
Oh
It
yeah.
just stopped being fun.
I have been a part of many a clan in the old Call of Duty days that fell
I
apart due to one
yeah.
e-girl joining, and every 14-year-old boy suddenly doesn't know how to handle a fucking hard on.
And make no mistake, that is a symbiotic complaint. That is both e-girl and
And you
simp are
boy,
to blame.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, I had fun with that on the online thing. It's just that the GTA Online like public servers, even though it is one of the biggest games in the world, even though they have an incentive to some extent to fix it, you'd think they would, more than they
Yeah.
did with 4 at least. It is filled with hackers constantly.
Yeah.
And even when they're not hacking, they're like a million levels above you and they'll just snipe you from across the map. Or they'll just use the in-game shit that allows them to grief you with like an orbital
Yeah.
strike or
Yeah.
something.
You remember
And
remember when we
it's fucking terrible.
I can't remember, it was like for about a month we almost constantly got notifications from the little hacker group spamming the notifications to everyone.
Yeah, that was happening for a while.
That
And I
was
mean,
so fucking annoying.
the amount that they've made on GTA Online has literally kept their company afloat. And it's like, okay, you don't want to do story missions, fine. You don't want to do like another GTA game in the last decade, okay. But can you at least make this work? No? Okay, fuck you then. I don't know, man.
Thank you,
GTA
Rockstar.
Online
Yeah.
is it's a real shame. And then I guess I don't know, do we do 6 first? I guess we talk about 6.
Yeah, because we're kind of we're a
We're
little,
running up on time,
yeah.
yeah.
So
And we want to talk about definitive. Maybe cut this out. Do we want to just end the thing by saying, and so the definitive edition, fuck that,
yeah,
and just like end the
but
podcast? We could do
we'll
that.
say this. Fuck the definitive edition. It fell apart. At least they patched some of it, but don't buy it unless it's like super cheap, folks. Please.
Oh no, I wanted to do a whole thing where we just and finally the definitive edition and just end the
All right. Tell
podcast.
you what. Let's talk about 6 super fast, and we'll do that. I'll cut this out.
Yeah. Okay.
I might leave it.
Either way. So 6 is
Yeah, 6
yeah,
leaked on.
6 leaked.
A bit of it did, yeah.
Ironically, from when we're recording this, literally a year and a day ago, from when we're recording
Wow,
this.
which is a day, which
Yeah,
is
September
9 years
18th.
and a day
Yeah, 9 years
from the
prior.
launch of yeah. Um
It's cyclical.
yeah, it's gonna be Vice City. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people already know this. It's gonna be Vice City. It's a Bonnie and Clyde thing with a male and female protagonist duo.
Yeah.
They've gone woke. There's women now.
The first time
Uh,
in
Sounds
3D.
interesting, at least.
The first time in 3D that we're getting a female character, because you could play as a female
true.
in 1 and the expansions.
Yeah, but don't
Yeah.
tell Heel versus Babyface
Oh,
that
dude.
when he makes his rage video.
God, you
Inevitably.
know, with that current market that's come out from that, I am so ready to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing is, while I was playing 5's online mode, a lot of the time I was thinking about what 6's online mode will be, because they're mostly talking about it as a single player game. They're
Yeah.
talking about that and they're focusing on that. But I think, with the giant map they're making, it would be stupid to think that they won't eventually make that either migrate that into the online mode for 5 or
Yeah.
something. I don't know, but just bring that in. That's gonna happen.
I think
And
they're gonna Warzone to it and basically say like, hey, this is the next one. You're jumping all over here, so yeah.
something like that, or Overwatch 2, basically.
Kind of.
Um,
I think they'll keep it
yeah.
up for another few years, especially on like PS4 and 5. Or no, not
Oh,
PS4,
yeah.
but like 5 and Xbox Series.
That would be a real problem if they just dropped it and it was like, sorry for all the money you put into your fucking character, shitheads. Fuck you,
Yeah.
buy the new game.
I mean, they did that
they-
to 360 though. That one did lose support, and then Go
They
out.
did that to Red Dead Online. There was Red Dead Online for a while, which
Well,
wasn't as profitable
yeah,
as
but
GTA
that one's
Online,
still
so
like that one's still available to play though. The 360
I
version's
guess.
like completely off.
Yeah, I can't really handle a lot of the, you know,
True.
newer stuff
And
properly.
and it's also almost it's almost 19 years old, so
Yeah, oh God, it is. Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
That's
But
that's so scary to think about.
Six's online idea, like, I don't want it to be fucking. I don't want the UI to be a clusterfuck again. I would
Yeah.
like to be able to easily invite people. I would like to be able to play publicly and not have it be the worst experience ever. But
Yeah, that would be cool.
we really have no reason to assume that any of that will happen, because why wouldn't they have just done that for 5 by this point?
See, here's the only thing where I'm kind of interested. Um Rockstar recently, I don't know if I don't know if we covered this, but they just like I think either invested in or did purchase the team behind 5M and Red M.
That I don't know how I feel about
I
that.
don't know if I like that.
Yeah, let me fully make sure what the context is
People
about.
People might not know. I don't know about Red M. 5M is the like GTA 5. I guess that's Red Dead
Yeah,
version.
yeah,
The GTA 5 like custom game, custom server browser thing, multiplayer thing. So they bought that, which I guess means they might be integrating some of that into new stuff, or it might also just mean,
yeah.
fuck you, don't make this anymore, you
Yeah.
Here,
know,
here's from their
non-compete.
here's from CFX's official. That's the name of the company, CFX.re. They said here, and to those curious what else Rockstar is working on, please understand our partnership with Rockstar Games is focused on our 5 and Red M platforms. So please do not ask us about the next GTA, which that feels like a non-answer if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
I really hope what that does mean is there will be better support for community features that honestly GTA 5 has needed since launch that
Yeah,
5M just does easily. But
yeah.
but hey, who knows?
Well, I mean, the thing is like the single player stuff that we've seen leaked for
6.
6.
Yeah.
It looks good, you know. I guess there's been some story stuff leaked. Vice City itself looks pretty good. The map, uh,
Oh yeah,
the
and
idea of
for what is
the
essentially early footage, like it
yeah,
looks good.
like for footage, the game hasn't even been officially announced yet at this point. And it looks pretty good. And there were a lot of brainlets who were saying it wasn't good enough. It didn't look better enough than 5. I think it didn't look that much advanced from 5, but again, it hasn't even been announced yet,
Yeah.
technically.
It's in like
Um,
essentially an alpha state.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It looks promising. It will be nice to get another game 15 years after the new one, after the last one came out. Whenever it eventually does. I don't know, 2025, people are thinking.
I'm
At this
I'm
point, maybe
thinking
26.
I'm gonna take a safe bet here and probably say the ass end of next year.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I
Maybe if
think
they
next
announce
year.
it at Game Awards.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm saying so is they said that during the whole fiscal year of because that fiscal year starts at the end of that year, they've estimated I think they're taking in $8 billion. Take Two. So they're estimating a big
Hmm,
jump in that fiscal year. So I'm gonna just put a safe bet on that and just say like, okay, maybe that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe. I mean, there's probably been delays and stuff too. And I mean, just the fact that it takes them so long, their entire company making one game. They can't have a Bully sequel, no Midnight Club, no Warriors 2, just GTA like heists, I guess. And
And we only get like
eventually
two.
maybe 6.
We only get like two major updates a year now for GTA Online. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And I mean, then you get like Red Dead 2, And I mean, we want to wrap this up eventually.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've been going. We wanted to do this for like an hour and a half. We're over 2.5 hours now. But I will say,
Tired.
Red Dead 2 is the last full Rockstar game, and it is divisive for a lot of people. The controls are really fucking sluggish, and they really want to be realistic and like, cinematic and all of the cool AAA buzzwords.
Yeah.
And they just pulled so far away from what made like GTA 3 fun, to begin with. And it's just funny to look at that and then play like GTA 3 or even just like GTA 1 or whatever. Like, wow, we've come such a ways. This company is so focused on like cinematics and detailed cutscenes, and you can shave Arthur's beard and all this shit. And and it's like, what happened to pickups floating in the air? I don't know. I just want to grill.
Yeah. I miss the grilling. I miss the small things. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really cool. They have so many details, like the beard grew up on Arthur, but it doesn't need to go super deep. I'm fine with dumb again.
Some of, like Tristan said, the overwrought RPG stuff from SA is kind of what they took. They really took that and ran with it with like Red Dead 2. And like you can fully customize Arthur and all this stuff, like, man. And it's good. I mean, it is good. I really like that game for a lot of reasons, but it's also like I don't want I don't want every game they make to take so long and crunch the entire company and just like, I don't know. That's just lame. It's not good enough that it took that long. And
Yeah.
I would take a game that was half that length, in half the amount of time instead of taking so fucking long. And it's every AAA company too, but Rockstar. That's Rockstar. I guess we never did talk about Chinatown Wars. It's good. Go play it. Anyways.
It seems good. I'll eventually play it.
But I think that brings us to the end.
Yep, that it does. The definitive edition.
So tired.
Oh yeah, the GTA Definitive Edition, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything to say about it?
No, nothing good.
Yeah, don't play it.
I don't think I have anything to say at all. Maybe we can like cover this on like a second Hyperfixations.
Do we really have that much to say about the?
I mean, there's a lot to say about it.
Well, there's also stuff that we didn't touch on, like, we could probably go in more depth on Red Dead Redemption 2 and stuff like that.
True, I've been meaning to replay it and finish it, so we could do one just for the Red Dead games.
Maybe.
True.
We've covered a bit, but there's a lot more to talk about.
I'd have to play 2 and then replay 1.
Hey, it's a double pack on stage.
Oh god, you gotta buy the Switch version.
Yeah, hey.
Bye.
Yeah, with that, we bid everyone to do a penis.
Yeah, penis.
There we go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm so fucking tired.
It took so long to talk about those games.
I'm still recording. I might leave this part.
Why not?
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, now penis.
Oh, I stopped mine. There you go.
Penis.